Alrighty, welcome to episode 117 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. In a softening of its previously hard-nosed stance, Tesla is providing a pathway for the return of supercharging of cars that have previously been written off. Repaired write-offs are now able to have supercharging restored, providing they pass detailed inspection undertaken at a Tesla service centre at the owner's expense. In what appears to be a parallel to the VHS Betamax video format war of the 1970s, Tesla appears to have launched an assault on CCS, the combined charging system, by releasing a blog post openly offering its self-titled NACS North American Charging Standard. Tesla claims its system to have no moving parts and a power capacity of up to 1 megawatt, which it further claims is twice the power of CCS. Tesla has begun rolling out FSD Beta version 11 to a limited number of employees before undertaking a wider rollout to North American owners by the end of November. Version 11 is notable since it unifies Tesla's vision and planning stack to encompass highway driving as well as its already demonstrated city street stack. The Wall Street Journal has reported Tesla's chair Robin Denholm as testifying at Elon Musk's compensation trial that in her opinion, Tesla might produce 100 semis by the end of 2022. Although she said so in the context of this figure being much lower than originally planned when the Semi was unveiled in 2017, it remains as a bullish indicator of Tesla's progress towards increasing Semi production throughput in the short to medium term. Tesla have released the official poster for its upcoming delivery event being held on the 1st of December. Notably, the image of the Semi sees it sporting ultra-white seats and contrasting red seatbelts, which are guaranteed to stand out compared to its non-electric competitors. Tesla's new Plaid and long-range Model S has earned Euro NCAP's top 5-star rating. This achievement is particularly notable since it has been tested to NCAP's latest and most stringent testing regime. And that was this week's news. Alrighty, welcome everyone. If there's anyone new, please feel free to say hello. And I do see a couple of new faces,
Hey,
so
everyone.
you just
How you
take a
going?
moment to unmute. G'day, Sam. How you going?
Hey everyone, my name is Sam. I'll be a Tesla 3 standard owner in about a month. Had a couple of questions, but yeah, how's it going, everyone?
Fantastic. Welcome. I take it you were a long-suffering order holder.
June. So better than they under promised, over delivered. But yeah, so June.
Awesome. Welcome, Sam. Okay, anyone else that's new, please do say hello.
Yeah, that'd be me. I've just had my first drink in 3 months. I've been sober and clean since then, and I've been driving a diesel car. That'd be me.
Welcome, Jared. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? I do see a couple of new faces.
Yeah,
Nope,
I'll go
that's-
next if you want.
Yes, go on. Yes, please do.
Yeah, good day. I'm Ricky. Yeah, I'm due to be a Model Y owner, I think January, saying now. So yeah, had a few questions as well. I thought I'd jump on. And
Yeah,
join.
cool. Awesome. Welcome. And I'm going to say hello to David and dob you in.
Hello, everybody. No worries. Yes, I've just become a Tesla owner 2 months ago, Model 3 long range. So I've just brought it up here to Northam and plugged it in at the hotel.
Fantastic. Congratulations. And no doubt you've got some questions later on, which we'll certainly get to. And we might just try my luck a little bit more. James, welcome.
Yeah, g'day. I'm hoping to be a Model Y owner tomorrow. I plan to pick up. So I think I've got most of my questions answered, but there's lots to learn. So yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the great things to learn is I do hope do you have an iPhone or an Android?
iPhone.
iPhone, great. If it's a new one, it'll do 240 frames per second. It should be able to capture your whole delivery process in about 3 frames. So it's going to be an awesome, rapid experience. No, only joking. It's actually going to be quite good. And congratulations. And
Thank you.
yeah, I hope you have a good sleep tonight. Looking forward to your car in the morning. It's only one
Yeah.
sleep away.
What time's your delivery, James?
Well, I'm trying to push back as late as I can because I'm meant to be at work. So, yeah, 3:30 or 4.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So what you'll find, the 3:30 ones, there's usually a group of, half a dozen to a dozen people, and so they do a bit of a, they take everyone in at the same time, and then you get your car. So, yeah, the later ones seem to have a lot more people. The earlier ones during the day seem to be have a lot less people.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Alrighty. Anyone else that's new? Actually, it's a bit of a record of new people. Actually, I might leave you alone. If you are new, please, like I said, just interrupt and say hello. We might as well go straight to questions. So any of the people that are waiting for a car or just gotten their cars, please just pipe up and just pop us a question.
Yeah, Michael's got a question. I've been trying to answer it in the chat.
Oh.
He's got no cables and he's had his Y today.
He has no cables? So no UMC. Oh, no UMC because, yes.
And they're out of stock.
Oh, Tesla is? Oh, okay. So at this stage, the supercharger is your friend in Karrinyup and any fast DC charger for that matter. So if we bring up PlugShare in 2 seconds and we just set, where am I? Oh, I've been planning stuff in Europe. Let's get back to Australia. If you have a look, I've just enabled basically the supercharger, which is in Karrinyup and CCS.
Where does he live? Not,
So, yeah, Nigel.
Hello.
Michael, how you going?
Not bad. How are you?
Yeah, good. So whereabouts are you roughly?
Como.
Oh, great. Right around the corner. Okay. So for instance, one thing that's quite convenient, it's not super duper fast charging, but it's the Curtin University 20...
I'm actually sitting in my car right now there charging.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, there you go. So, this is a great opportunity. Someone like Nigel, who is a grumpy old man, might actually go, let's have a look and see if this gentleman has... Oh, you have too. You've even checked in. Look at that. Very good.
Boy.
Too professional.
I went to Horizon today and I found you needed a cable and
yep.
That was, and and the Woolworths at Mount Pleasant is not working.
It also needs a cable as well. So,
yeah.
So all of these locations in the orange pins are fast DC chargers, and none of them require cables. The only caveat is the Midland one, which has a CCS one cable. I think it still has, and that one is not compatible, as you can see. CCS one not compatible with the majority of EVs.
So I don't need. Do I need to charge it every day at the moment, or just?
Not at all. So sorry, was it a Model Y?
Yeah, Model Y.
Yeah. So you don't need to charge it all the time. Feel free to charge it at 100%.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yep.
So if you've got no cables, look, send me your details. Actually,
yep.
just give me a call later on this number.
Oh, good. Did you put it in chat? Oh, yeah,
I just put it in chat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could call on the TOCWA helpline, which is 62623131. but yeah, just give me a call. Oh, thanks, Nigel Grumpy. That's the hotline number, and yeah, give me a call tomorrow, and we'll try and sort something out in the short term.
Thank you very much, Harold. I'm very stuck here.
Yeah, what's your state of charge at the moment?
So it's 254 kilometers. I've actually been
right.
down to Mandurah and back today.
Yep.
And charged it in Mandurah at the Thai restaurant. And
cool. Yep.
He was a lovely guy as well.
That's the other thing too. What I should have actually put on PlugShare is these green points. So I've actually selected Tesla. So when you select Tesla, that's the Tesla destination charges. So all of these top 3 selections, you don't need a cable of any kind whatsoever. So there are locations. So for instance, in Fremantle, there's a couple of destination charges. There's 1 or 2 at the Esplanade Hotel, which is a great parking spot. And like I said, you can see on PlugShare there are quite a few locations around Perth that have the destination charges, which is can be useful if you do some opportunistic charging. If you're in Como, just hang on seconds. 2 seconds. It's 2 seconds, Alex. You've also near you. You've also got Michael. You've also got the Pagoda resort.
Yeah, I think that's not working at the moment.
Okay, and you've got Riverton. You've got Riverton Shopping Centre, which is not too far away.
Resetting every now and again. One at Riverton.
Yeah, that's right. So the northern, just avoid the northmost connector, which is basically the one furthest away on this image. The southern one is the most reliable. So in fact, as you're facing it like that, it's the one on the right, which is the most reliable. The one on the left varies between not working at all to just needing a reset to sometimes working. So just
Harold, could you just click on that middle picture there?
Okay, welcome to this segment of Let's Tell Harold What to Click At. This one is that one, which looks like this is Damon trying to claim that his car isn't burnt orange, because what he's done is he's applied a filter.
That's burnt.
He's applied a filter to his phone, and you'll notice that there's a rather naughty Nissan Leaf that didn't read the sign that said Tesla charging only. But anyway, we'll put that one aside. So there you go, Michael. But yeah, give me a buzz tomorrow and we'll try and sort something out, at least in the short term.
I definitely will. Thank you very much, Harold. I appreciate it.
No worries. Absolute
Hey,
pleasure.
Harold,
All right.
Stupid question. While you've got PlugShare up, what are the filters for Model 3 owners?
Oh, okay. Right. So I think I've actually set my car, I've set it as a Model X. So let's just say if I go to a Model Y, which will be the same as a Model 3, if I turn everything off, actually you have to have at least something on. So it won't let you. Oh, yes, it will. Why does it show? Incompatible plugs. So for a Model 3 or a Y, everything that's compatible is Tesla Fast, CCS, even though that symbol looks incorrect, Tesla, and that needs no cables whatsoever. But then if you want to use a cable, you can use a Type 2 cable, and that's just the Type 2. And then obviously if you have a UMC, the Universal Mobile Connector, which depending on when you ordered your car will have come free with your car, or you've got to buy it from Tesla. You can use a wall. Yep, free, that's good. Yep, cool. You can use the wall connector, the wall, and if you show incompatible plugs, you can also do the, I think there's supposed to be 15 amp, which I think is Commando. I think that they show it as Commando at the moment. But yeah, so basically Fast, CCS, Tesla, Type 2. And then if you're doing country driving with a CONS 3-phase EVSE adapter, then you can also throw up 3-phase. But for around town, just those first 4 are the most common. And if you don't have a cable, just deselect the Type 2. And then all of these locations in Perth and surrounds are where you can charge the car without any sort of adapter of any kind.
Brown versus green?
Oh, sorry. So all of the they're orange pins are fast DC chargers. Although the Bentley one, you could arguably say, well, it's 23 or 4 kilowatts. It's not terribly fast. In fact, Michael, what speed are you getting at the moment in your car? I think about 150 k's an hour, should say. If you're there.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah,
I'm
that's cool.
getting 147.
Yeah, cool, awesome. And then the green is slow. That's AC charging, so that's generally slow. Now, apologies to Alex. You had your hand up first, and I'll get to you, Ricky, right away. So,
Right.
Alex, shoot.
Just going to say the manager charger is back online for those people who need it.
Oh, fantastic.
That's RHB one near the boardwalk.
So that's the one down here.
That'll be
before
for
you
this
zoom.
week
Alex?
only until the vandals get to it.
Yeah.
So we've got a report from Clink PC. Is that saying that's where you got the info from, Alex, or did you suss it out yourself?
I sussed it out on Saturday, went down there
Yep.
just to test it, and charger was working.
Yep.
And then a heap of more people, looks like they've put some more posts up there. So
Awesome. Fantastic. Thanks, Alex.
All
And
good.
Ricky, you had your hand up, so shoot.
Yeah, no, it was just related to, I ordered just after the cutoff as well, so I won't be getting a UMC cable. But I noticed on the Top WA, like on your website, there's the 22 kilowatt EVSC that you mentioned, you talked about on the website. Like, I guess for me, I don't do that many probably kilometers, and also I'll probably be able to charge at work in the car park and stuff in the office. So I'm thinking probably like I don't probably need a wall charger and stuff at the moment. But I thought that, like going on road trips or something, having something that could do 3-phase or a few different options might be a good one. But just, wondering what was the 22 kilowatt EVSC that you guys were talking about on the website?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's called the Cons charger. It's got a 32 amp 3-phase Clipsal plug on the end of it, and it's basically for use out in the regions. I mean, you can also use it at home, so you could get an electrician if you've got a 3-phase house to
I do have
connect.
Yep.
To put in a 3-phase, a 32 amp 3-phase Clipsal socket, and you can basically charge your car at 11 kilowatts, which is 80 k's an hour roughly, and you can also do that on the road. At the moment, we are critically low in those, and I'm just reserving a few as extra loan items.
Sure.
At this stage until we get a
doesn't have the tails. You can't switch it over to the.
No, unfortunately not. No.
Sure.
So if you look at Tesla's website, of course, there is a mobile connector for $550, which used to come free with the car, but now no longer does. You'll notice it says out of stock. So what you should do is actually click on it anyway, and then you can actually click on this link which says email me to be notified when it's back in stock. If anyone is interested in buying these, definitely put your email address here. So when it comes back into stock, you'll get an email straight away. Because if you just rely on occasionally coming back to the website, they may get some stock, and then that stock will get gobbled up. And when you look again, maybe a day or two later, it will have gone again. So it's definitely a pro tip to enter in your email and click notify me.
Does that say 8 amp and 12 amp?
It frustratingly still does at the moment, quite frustratingly. And you'll recall, Damon, that we discussed that last week as being a
Very
disappointment.
sensitive wound, that one.
And that is a little bit disappointing.
What's the 3-phase tail that you can buy with the UMC there? What's the speed that you get on that?
Okay, that's a single. It's actually the tail that you can buy on Alibaba and some other charging EVSE retailers. It basically pulls 32 amps single phase through the 3-phase socket. Look, it's okay. One issue, however, is, for instance, if you have a 3-phase house with a 3-phase socket and you use that adapter, you are actually exceeding the, I wouldn't call it the legal limit, but the permitted maximum current that your 3-phase house is allowed to draw, namely 32 amps per phase. So you're in violation of Western Power regulations if you use it at home at 32 amps.
That's why I was interested in what the 22 kilowatt EVSC that you guys were talking about was. Ideally, I was hoping it had an option to switch out to a normal tail, because in the office, I can't, they're just normal, 50 or 10 amp or whatever point. So I kind of need, that's like, I'm a bit stuck because at home, I can definitely get an electrician to install the 3-phase. And it'll probably be good for, if I go on trips and stuff with the family, for caravan parks and things. But yeah, kind of almost need the standard, 10 amp as well, which kind of means I don't really want to have to buy 2 cable, chargers ideally, but.
Yeah, there's unfortunately there is no perfect solution. Many of us have got every adapter and EVSE and cable and whatever known to man, and some not even known to man. And that can become a little bit expensive as a bit of a hobby. But look, there's nothing wrong with having, for the sake of convenience, actually going for the high power wall connector at home. Look, it is $750, but it comes with a long cable. So if you become a 2 Tesla family, you can share that across your carport or garage. This thing is in stock and it's Wi-Fi connected, so it may in future have some interesting features. But look,
I didn't think about that, but then because I wanted to charge at work and I don't have the UMC for free at the moment. Like if I had the UMC for free, I might have bought that, installed that at home. I actually got quotes to get it installed, but because I've got to pay for the UMC, then I was like, well, and I need that for work, because that's probably where I'll be. Depending on how they have it, I want to try to see how it goes, but there's a chance I'll be able to almost just charge purely at work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I need the UMC for that, or I need something for charging at work. Yeah.
Do you have multiple electric cars at work, or just yours at the moment?
There's a few, but we're like a multi-story car park, and there's lots of power points all around the building.
Got you.
So I think it'll be. I've seen some of the other Model Ys and stuff plugging in.
Okay, so
at some point they might call it out when everyone starts getting Teslas and we're all chewing up the building power. But
yes, as is human nature, is to tap into something that's not costing you money at the moment. And of course, everything that's free is costing someone money. Anything you get for nothing, someone's paying for it. I
work at Bunnings, so they're quite aggressive. In some of our stores, we're actually putting in chargers, and a new office in Victoria actually has dedicated about 20 Tesla chargers for just our WA office hasn't got that yet. So they're kind of happy for you to do it, but it is a shared
resource.
Some other people in the building too. Yeah, and it should be fine. Yeah.
Well, look, another way to approach it is, yes, Tesla removed this free item, but in essence, anyone that got the free item was paying for it anyway, because it was built into the cost of the car. Now, all that Tesla has done is apply a little bit of shrinkflation. So they've basically just said, well, we're not going to raise the price, but we're going to delete something worth 500. Well, it was actually cost more than that at the time. They've actually reduced the price to 550. What you can do in economic terms is just say, well, let's just approach it as an extra $550 on top of the cost of my car and just be done. But of course, human nature is that you want to, minimize cost.
And that's fine. I was happy to pay $1,000, $700, but then I was hoping for that one that could do a bit of both, so 3-phase and but then I did a bit of research and I was like, there doesn't really seem to be that perfect portable mobile charger that can do except for maybe there's some that's like $2,000 or something.
Exactly. In fact, I was just trying to click on a product which is, I'm just going to get it in 2 seconds. And it is about $2,000, and it is right here. And this is what's called evse.com.au. They call everything a quick portable Type 2 charger, and it has tails. But it's $2,000. And the tails, it alleges that the tails are automatically identifying. I haven't personally verified. I haven't bought this product because I've kind of got enough already. but
Yeah.
it's rather expensive. I mean, it is more than a UMC and a HPWC combined.
Exactly.
In
yeah,
fact, you
that's
could
what I
buy
was
two
thinking.
HPWCs and a UMC and still be out in front and have some redundancy. But this product is out there at evse.com.au.
Harold, I bought one a couple of weeks ago. That exact one. It's terrific.
Cool, fantastic, great.
Do you have an old
great to hear.
UMC you want to sell, John?
No, I'm waiting for my performance wise. I've still got to wait 3 months.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Harold,
Is it three-phase capable?
Yes, Pete. Sorry,
So
go,
just
Pete.
to pick up a question from chat, I noticed Michael mentioned that he's been quoted $2,000 to install. Was that the HPWC? Was that the destination charger, the wall connector, Michael?
Yes, correct.
Now, did you get that electrician's name through the Tesla website, or?
Yeah, and one through the actual sales rep gave me, and one that's not listed on there, and they're all
Yeah,
about the
okay.
same.
Now, is your where you want to place your wall connector? Is that a fair distance from the switchboard or a
About 10
subboard?
meters. About 10 meters.
Okay. 2,000 is way too much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the people that are listed on the website, they let's just put it let's just put it nicely. They charge a premium for being on the website.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what I would do is feel free to get some quotes. At the end of the day, any electrician can install one. So they preferably you want someone that's done it before, so they know what they're doing.
I do have friends who are electricians.
Excellent.
So
You get them to do it. It's nothing.
I thought you had to be one of those
No.
Tesla.
Not at all. Not at
No,
all.
not at
No.
all.
And you'll probably find that your friends will do it for, between sort of $600 and $800 or something like that if it's not too complicated.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, should be just 10 meters. Should be. You're on 3-phase or single phase?
3-phase, yeah.
Yeah. Have you got enough room in your switchboard? Or?
One of them reckoned I didn't, and everyone else reckoned I did, and they all had different opinions.
Yeah.
Well, you might not. You might not have enough room as it is now, but there might be, 3-pole RCDs that can be reduced down to 1-pole ones, and so that they may be able to make more room in there. Alternatively, they can just put another little subboard next to it if need be. But so it might cost a little bit more if they have to put in a subboard or replace some RCDs. But you shouldn't pay more than about $1,000 for that.
Yeah, I thought 2,000 was too much. I was like, well, 2,000 plus 750 just seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. And if you have dramas, I'll put my number in the chat. Feel free to give me a call, and I'll try and find someone for you that's done a few already. And
because my mates would have never touched it before. They would have. There's not something they're into.
Yeah, look, like I said, anyone can do it. I mean, it is beneficial if someone has done it before. But so I've just put my number in now. There it is. So yeah, feel free
It's
to
not hard at all.
And just let your electricians know that all I need to do is put in a 3-phase RCBO.
Okay.
I'm getting one fitted tomorrow. So I'm getting one fitted tomorrow, a single phase. And
Single phase is easy, Lee. Yeah, it's super easy. Single phase. Yep.
Yeah.
Because single phase, you just need a single DIN RCBO. Super easy. Yeah, really, really simple to do.
Yeah, just price-wise, I guess mine's about 15 meters away from our meterboard, meterboard. So so it's not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, you just need good diameter cable, which they know how to size that, and that's all good. Hey Andrew, how are you going with that email to me?
Yeah, I sent it a little while ago. You should have got it when I had to secretary.
Oh, okay.
What-
Haven't got it
what do
yet,
you-
but that's cool. I'll keep looking. Okay.
While you're looking for that, Harold, so James, who's picking up his Model Y, I think it was tomorrow. So yeah, just a couple of things before you go to the delivery center. So make sure that you've downloaded the Tesla app. You've probably done that already, have you?
Yep, already done.
Beautiful. And have your username and your password ready. So in the app, it will ask you to accept delivery, and there'll be basically a link going to your account, and then you'll have to have your username and your password ready to be able to log in, or you might even be able to log in through your browser, through your smartphone browser beforehand. That way it'll be a bit quicker. Now, it's a delivery center at King Edward Road rather than the Tesla store. Yep. Have you been there before? It's a little bit hard to find.
I've got the address, but I don't haven't been there before. No.
So there's I think they're called Kilmore Group. So if you're facing the entrance, so it's a long driveway. There's a COVID testing centre on the right, and it's a long driveway, probably a couple of 100 metres long. And it's right at the end of that driveway. And there's a company called Kilmore Group on the right, and there is just a small black sign that has a Tesla logo on it. But it is at 25 King Edward. So now the other thing to mention, when did you order your Model Y?
I only ordered it in like the last week of September.
Okay. So you won't get the UMC with it.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. And just make sure you have your insurance sorted out. Before you take your car away.
Yep, got that all sorted. And we've already got a Hyundai Kona electric, so we've already got the charge. I'm going to use the Hyundai charger on the Tesla initially while I'm sorting myself out. Hopefully that doesn't offend too many people here.
Don't need juice, mate. Doesn't matter at all.
I do
Doesn't make
exactly
any
the
difference.
I do exactly the reverse. I use the Tesla charger for my Kona. So, hey, can I just give a quick report? I'm in South Africa, and I'm going to be heading back very soon. Harold, you
Yes,
okay?
Ant.
I'll just give a quick report on a couple of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So just for everyone
so-
that might not be aware, sorry, just hang on 2 seconds, Ant. Anyone that might not be aware, Ant is actually the WA chair and secretary of the Electric Vehicle Association WA branch.
All right. So I'm in South Africa at the moment, and this is the land that Tesla forgot, because even though Elon Musk originates from here, there's literally no Teslas here, not a single one. In the 3 weeks that I've been here, I've seen 4 EVs, 3 of which were BMW i3s, and 1 was a Nissan Leaf. And I managed to track one owner down and find out how he manages here. There's a few constraints here in the sense that they have quite regular load shedding, so power shedding. And I've experienced it a few times, but they get around that because the load shedding is scheduled. But it's just very interesting to be in a country where there's so few EVs as to be non-existent. And the awareness of EVs is very, very low. And when you mention that you drive electric cars, people look at you as if you just come from another planet, which I guess in a way Australia is. But I've just interestingly, they've got a charging network right the way through the country. They've got fast chargers all the way through north to south and kind of east to west. If you look on PlugShare, they've got fast chargers and quite a few AC chargers, BYO type, that I've just seen, which are typically paid for by BMW and more recently by Volvo. So only Volvo, BMW, and Nissan are available in the country, and they're about double the price of what they would be in Australia, which is a bit not great. But it's just been an interesting. I've been having to drive a stink car. That's the one I'm in at the moment, and that's the first time in 6 years I've driven a car that isn't electric, and I'm really looking forward to getting in that Tesla when I get home. That's all I really wanted to say, Harold.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. That's awesome. So, yeah. So obviously, you're gonna welcome the sight of EVs in Perth, then, without doubt. Are you going via Dubai again on a very long trip?
I am indeed. I'm going via Dubai, 22-hour layover. And there again, actually looking in Dubai, there's precious few Teslas. I suspect they're there. They're definitely there, but I didn't see one. And I suspect because it's all based on oil. I don't think they're that interested in electric cars, unfortunately. The infrastructure is definitely capable, but not just isn't happening. One thing more I wanted to say was that people are interested here, and I think with availability, it would come. But it's also very interesting to see the contrast. So in Perth and around Australia, we're impatient to get those charging networks in place, etc. We want availability. We want more electric cars, and here's a place that has none. And just the expansion of electric cars in Australia and Western Australia has been fantastic. If you look at it through that lens, through what it could have been. In other words, a complete drought of EVs like we have here in South Africa.
But then again, and you could pose the opposing argument as well, couldn't you? You could have been in New Zealand rather than South Africa, where 11% of all new cars sold. Well, it's a bit more than that now. Are we're at about 3.5%. So they've got 4 times as much as we do.
Did you get the wrong flight, Anne? You're supposed to go to New Zealand.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's roughly the same accent, isn't it?
That explains it.
They're into rugby and
same sort of thing.
But another point to make is whether it's South Africa or Dubai or any other country, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, neither South Africa or Dubai, or the Arab Emirates, make their own. They don't have any mass production cars. They don't have it.
South Africa has mass production of motor cars. BMW, Mercedes, and others have been manufacturing here for a very long time, but no electric cars now.
Oh, awesome! Sorry, I was just being distracted downloading a video.
Have you managed to buy a handgun while you're there?
No,
because
there's some really surprisingly safe.
Okay.
Yeah, haven't been threatened with one either, but the flamethrowers tend to keep them at bay,
Yeah, right, okay. That's
No, sorry, someone, is it A Bills? You put your hand up, so I don't know your first name, you're just an initial. Yes, please go. And then I'll go right to you, Stefan, straight after.
I'll
go,
say
Andrew.
goodbye in the meantime. Bye.
Hi, Harold.
No worries, Ant. Thank you.
Sorry, my name's Andy. I don't know whether you remember me from a few weeks ago.
Yes, absolutely.
And I placed an order. Well, I put a deposit down, and I just got the call today, actually, saying are you wanting delivery December? So, so I took on board what a lot of you guys said. We had a discussion and a drive and so on. So so I committed to a white Model 3 base model, and was expecting it to be February to May, and I got the call today. So just debating whether to take it up or carry on saving, and then I'll be good in another couple of months. But I did hear that, I don't know, that they are moving, that they're not using dual technologies for, sorry if you've already gone over this, they're not using radar, they're using just visual from the cameras for detection. Is that true?
Yes. So Tesla have gone to what's called Tesla Vision. So there was no radar fitted to the cars at all anymore. what you may also, and to be perfectly honest, that's perfectly okay. Pete and I have driven our Model Ys that have no radar right around Australia and had no issues. The other thing that people might have heard about is that in the States, and I've also heard about this in Europe, Tesla have removed the ultrasonic sensors to a fair bit of commotion, I guess you'd say. And what we know at this stage is that all of the cars coming to Australia at the moment and currently being built do have ultrasonic sensors. And there is currently no plan of Tesla to change that for the time being. Not that it won't change eventually, but at the moment, all of the cars that are arriving for the next few months or couple of months definitely have ultrasonic sensors. So that's one thing that you can be assured of.
Right. So there'll be probably a Chinese manufactured thing versus an American manufacturer.
At this stage, and a European, that's right. Because the Europeans, I believe, have gone to no ultrasonics, but all of the Australian imported cars from Shanghai currently do have ultrasonic sensors. But
what's
none
your
of
thoughts on that? Is that a good thing? Or
this is only my very personal thought is, I'm a shareholder of Tesla. The one thing I fear, and I don't think it's an irrational fear, is I fear that, look, I can mount a very easy case of where an ultrasonic would be preferable to just using vision. And the easiest way to think about it is, imagine you have a toddler sitting in front of your garage. So the night before, you backed your car in, so it's facing frontwards out. You close your roller door. Obviously, Tesla Vision knows everything around it. It has, the great thing about the Vision is it uses what's called an occupancy network. So it optically looks at everything and works out the volumetric space all around it, the vector space. So as you're going into your garage, it will very accurately tell you how far your front bumper is from your wall or any object that it has already seen over the last, say, 5 meters as it's approaching your wall or anything else for that matter. And the issue is, imagine you've reversed your car in, you've closed your roller door. So the car will still remember everything that it saw. But of course, once you close the roller door, it has no idea what's on the other side of it because it hasn't got X-ray vision. You imagine the toddler is sort of sitting in front of your roller door on the outside of your garage, and you hop in your car and you raise the roller door and you drive forwards. Now, unlike some other cars, Tesla does not have a fisheye camera mounted on the grille or bumper. It only has the one at the windscreen. So all you need to do is imagine closing your door, looking out your windscreen. The camera sees effectively what you can see. That is one instance where I think there might be a problem.
Yes.
And I know it's tenuous. I know it's a 1 in a million chance of that happening.
No, it's happened already, Harold.
But sadly, many children have been killed by their parents in their driveways in other cars. And me personally, I fear that Tesla may have to walk that back. And the problem is, if they have to walk it back, it'll be rather spectacular. They will be given a recall notice, and it's a hardware recall. This is not a software update. This is and the thing is, they've removed wiring loom. They've, if this happens, it's going to be pretty bad. I dare say, if you're a long-term,
they could
Nigel.
just put a camera in on the front.
Except they haven't. Except they're not.
No, but they could, if they do a recall, they're going to stick with Tesla Vision. They just stick a camera on the front and then use that.
Yeah, but they'll have to change. But they'll have to change the computer, Nigel, because the computer doesn't have an extra channel to put another camera.
Right.
Just saying.
But I completely agree with you, Harold. I'm a shareholder as well, as you know, and it's great to have we quantified the savings? A few people actually. Sandy Munro was probably the most reliable. What did he say the saving came to?
About $115 or $120, and that's probably US.
Yep.
That's that's a lot across a couple of million cars. And, you know, as a shareholder, you'd say, well, that's great because, you know, it's better for shareholders. But I think from a long term, exactly what Harold was saying, you know, you know, the chances are very low, but it will only take one child to be killed. And it will, as Harold said, it will have to be a hard recall. It will be, yeah, I completely don't agree. I agree with 99.9% of what Tesla does. This is one thing that, you know, I 100% agree with Harold. Just, you know, and as you said, Nigel, all they need to do, well, I didn't realise there was no more spare channels in the computer.
Yeah, I
but
didn't know that. Are you sure, Harold?
Yes. Well, what I mean to say is that every single connector is occupied. They don't have like a spare coaxial input for an additional prospective camera that they might want to use later. So what it means is, you know, they could unplug the cabin camera and choose to omit it, but of course they're becoming reliant on it. So if the solution is, well, okay, maybe in desperation they may say, well, we don't need the 3 front cameras with 3 different focal lengths. Maybe we will forego one of those and stick it on the bumper.
Can I just ask, what was the original question?
Oh, the original question was, do the cars currently have radar? And the answer to that is no. They've gone away from having radar and they rely on vision only for all the long distance stuff or forward facing obstacle determination. But then the follow up was, everyone has heard about Tesla deleting the ultrasonic sensors. So there are 12, I think, off the top of my head, I think that's about right, sensors. And in the US and in Europe, Tesla have removed them from production. So the bumpers no longer have the holes. They are clean bumpers, and there are no ultrasonics on the cars coming out of the US.
That the radar was removed. I thought it was a recent decision, so it sounds like it's actually some time. I thought it was just a few months ago.
Well, it was. I don't know, 6 months ago or roughly. Yeah. So the Model Ys, for example, all of the Model Ys that arrive in Australia that are driving around as we speak have no radar. And actually that's not a bad thing. Look, the only thing I found was when I was driving down the hills towards Canberra, it was really, really foggy, and the car sort of slowed down, and a couple of times it disengaged autopilot because it basically couldn't see properly. Now, I don't know whether the same car would have done that if it had radar. Maybe it might have had a better time of it, but it was still acting safely. So it was driving within its means, or its detectable means. So there's no issue.
Yeah. Sorry, Harold.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So removing ultrasonic sensors, which I didn't know about, that's a cost-cutting exercise.
Yes, 100. It saved 100. Well, actually, it's not just cost. The cost is a factor. It was also explained, although I'm inclined to look. It was also explained that it removes what's called sensor fusion, where you need to try and combine various information from different types of sensors. It's better to have the same type of sensor for all information. But vision.
Net, is it better or worse? Net, is it better or worse? Or neutral?
Well, I've mounted an argument.
One word answer.
It's worse.
Time will tell.
Worse.
Yeah, but Harold has.
Is it material?
No. Look, no.
So it's worse, but it's not material.
No, it can be.
You got the answer to your question.
No. So let's put it this way. If you have a little kid, you just want to be a little bit more careful on that 1 in a million scenario that I just described. Almost every other scenario, it'll be fine.
But one in a million, it means that it's just a matter of time. It's not an if, it's a when it happens.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen.
Yes.
Is there any chance that like putting in like HD radar instead as the money saved? Like they're using the money saved to put in HD radar under the.
They won't put in more radar. Definitely.
Once again,
HD radar. Elon said he'd consider if it's high definition.
But once again, you're introducing another sensor. Yes, they're talking about, as you said, bringing back a HD radar, but it's that sensor fusion question. But if it was purely for sensor fusion reasons, then they could have just, as Nigel said, they could have put a little fisheye or even a non-fisheye camera in the grill down at the bottom. So,
is there anything A-Bills can do for his pickup tomorrow?
He doesn't need to. He's got ultrasonic sensors, so there's not a problem.
And
so Andy doesn't have to worry about the radar. Omitting the radar is not an issue. And all of the cars that are on ships, in fact, there's a ship in Fremantle as we speak that we expect to have Teslas coming off tomorrow or tonight. And, there's no issue with any of those cars. They all have ultrasonic sensors. None of them have radars. Pete and I have driven around Australia, in a couple of weeks doing 13,500 Ks, and not having radar is a zero issue, literally zero. Perfectly safe. Ultrasonics is different.
I'll add to that. If anyone does this with their car and puts a nudge bar with a light bar in front, that blocks the radar, so it doesn't work on an old car either.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing to also mention, Harold, with the latest batch of Model Ys, how we always know that, all you need is a couple of weeks difference between manufacturing dates and the cars can be quite different. The latest batch of Teslas, they've introduced another safety feature. So in the, how you can open there's two ways to open the front door. You can press the button or you can use the lever, the mechanical lever, which is there just in case, there's no power to the car so you can get out. Well, now there's one for the rear doors as well. It's in the, it's where the trim is, where you've got the little space where you put stuff. Yeah, it's underneath the armrest where that little space is where you can put, belongings. And so in the old, in our Model Ys, there's just a liner in there. Now there's a plastic rubber mat, and you lift up the rubber mat, and there's a little red lever that you can pull up to open the rear doors now. So that would have cost, extra. That probably would have cost them an extra $10-15 a car. But
I'm not sure about that. Fun fact, 2019 Model 3 here for the race car, when we pulled apart the interior to put the roll cage in, on the rear doors, there is an actual cable, the release cable in the door already. It's just behind all the door trim. It's probably been there.
Grumpy's messaged me and said the only way to ask a question is to talk over the top of all of you. So
Go, Sam.
I'm gonna do that. I have two questions. I'll try and keep them really focused. So novated lease, what are the traps for young players? So I'm in the top income bracket. I've got a car coming in a month, and the delta between the offset account and the finance rate's about 3%. So I know there's been some changes to the EV tax laws and fringe benefits tax and things of that nature. Does anyone have any experience with the novated lease? Is there somewhere they're going to screw me?
You've got a standard range Model 3 that you're getting. So it's beneath the luxury car tax threshold. No. Well, yes, that's two. Yes, there's two things. There's a WA government rebate of $3,500, which you will qualify for, providing your car is not red
It's not. Yep.
And you haven't picked the alloy wheels.
Haven't.
Great. So then in fact, the quickest way to check that is go to Tesla's website, configure your car, and then when you look at the savings, you'll notice that the car will cost, let's say 74.
It's under.
And then it goes 60, it'll show 64 after estimated savings or whatever.
Yes,
so that qualifies.
Absolutely. Yep.
The other good thing is the federal government has committed to enacting legislation that will be dated the 1st of July. This is obviously providing it passes the Senate, that effectively says that all EVs that are purchased beneath the luxury car tax threshold, which is definitely your car for sure, and probably probably most Model Ys, I think, because I did hear something about the luxury car tax threshold being as much as $86,000, but don't quote me on it. But they've committed to having it exempt from from FBT, fringe benefits tax, which means if your company simply purchased it and let you use it willy-nilly, there is zero fringe benefits tax. The other thing too, the other sweetener with a company buying it is they get to do a 100% asset write-off on day one, provided it's beneath the LCT, luxury car tax threshold. And it's not the standard LCT, it's the what's called the efficient vehicles version of the luxury car tax threshold, which is a higher number. But if you do a novated lease, you'd have to talk to a novated lease company because, well, I think that actually still is undertaken by your company, isn't it? And you just do a salary sacrifice. So there are positive tax effects.
Yeah, you avoid the GST and you basically pay the payments in pre-tax dollars. But I'm just like, is there anything from the group who have basically been screwed at the other side when you're trying to get out or you're trying to get it serviced or you drive too many Ks?
I've had a novated lease before, and the balloon's calculated like it's a percentage of, depending on how many years you get it for, so you know up front what it's going to be and stuff. So there's no surprises there. They do charge you like a management fee, like maybe $20 a month or something. There's some kind of management fee they charge.
I had novated lease years ago. It didn't work for me. At the end of it, I wish I didn't do it.
Why?
I think it's ballpark but with the FBT, I think for me that probably tipped over the line to being useful. I think without the FBT benefit, it might not be that good. But being on the top tax bracket as well, and with the FBT discounts, I figure it will be better off.
How did it not work for you, Damon?
Just like it was convenient because you have fuel cards and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, you're still paying somebody to manage the car. I mean, Paul, you wouldn't have fuel cards with a Tesla, no. But when it comes down to it, you're still paying for someone to manage it all when really you can just manage it yourself, pretty much. And then you've got a balloon payment at the end of it. And I don't know. Look, some people apparently it works for, but it didn't work for me. So I just think you're better off just managing it all yourself.
In terms of the FBT, there's a bill before the Senate at the moment. It's been stuck there since July, but you're buying it in a company name. Part of that bill is FBT exemptions and other tax benefits for small businesses. And it will apply, if it's passed, it will apply retrospectively from, I think it's from the 1st of July from memory.
1st of July, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Second question, wall charging. So I brought visual aids because I know that helps. So hopefully you can share my see my screen.
The answer is you've got plenty of space in your meter box there, Sam. So that's
so the meter box is there.
It's your dish.
The car gets parked there.
Oh.
So it's a fair. It's going to. I parked the red car's the current car. The red car's disappearing, but there's a fair bit of trenching, kind of.
Why not? What about the garage? What about your car? What about your garage?
Oh, I could go in the garage. I could park a car here and have a wall charger there. So I've got two happy quotes.
And don't forget your wall charger's got a 7.3 meter long cable. Your HBWC has a 7.3 meter long cable, so it'll reach halfway down your driveway into your car if you reverse it, or even forward park it for that matter.
And it will be tons cheaper to have it near your garage than in the carport. If you do decide that you want it in the carport, one advice that I can give you is get the electricians to tell you where to trench, and obviously you got to be at least 600 mil down and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But get another contractor to do the trenching,
Do it
because
yourself.
or do it yourself if you can.
That's what I did.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because this is the
Just
two
make sure
quotes, right?
And if
Just
you
make
do it
sure
yourself,
told before you dig.
you got to make sure you put the tape in at 300 from the top.
Oh yeah.
And,
No,
and
I meant
document-
just dig the trench for your sparkies, and then they
And-
lay
and
it,
document
and then they put the
everything that
danger
you do.
tape on top. Yeah.
Just make
But Sam,
oh,
don't
before you
just be aware. Do you want to dig up that much of that driveway just to put it out there when you're only going to charge your car every few days, and you could just, while you're doing it, just reverse it into that that garage part of the driveway. And like I said, you've got a 7.3 meter long length of cable. So if you reverse your car down, because the charging port's on the left hand side, and it looks like you'd be putting it on the right hand side of the driveway, because you said that's where the switchboard is, or near there, right there.
Yeah, right.
So it'll be a very cheap install. It'll be a simple install.
Well, that's nearly $4,000 for a Zappy. Is that what I should be in the
Oh, no.
Oh.
No,
So I've got
definitely not.
$4,000
No
for
way, man.
3,
Zappy.
8, and nearly 6 for the Zappy in the car.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing, with all due respect to Zappy, and Zappies are great. They're very good at what they do.
Yeah.
But
They're big in
it's-
South Africa.
It's not. I presume you're doing it because you've got solar and
I got
look,
10 kilowatt on the roof and an 8 kilowatt inverter and
yeah,
a
that's
solar
cool.
edge
So,
inverter.
and do you
That's
live at home? Do you work at home?
A fair bit.
Do you work?
About 60% of the week.
Oh yeah.
Even then, it's what you got to think of the Zappy is you're prepaying for this free electricity you're getting from the sun because you're paying for it
ridiculous.
today.
That's why I'm
Right.
here.
So then just don't do it. So there are lots of other low technology ways of achieving a similar result that range from, if you're at home and you've got 8 kilowatts of inverter and it's a sunny day, where you can just go and reduce your current. If it's a 3-phase house, just put your current down to 5 amps, 10 amps, 3-phase, and then you'll be drawing 5 kilowatts, 6, 7 kilowatts, 3 kilowatts, whatever you want to do, and just do it that way.
Just 1 second. Sam, what brand is your inverter?
Solar Edge.
Easy.
So,
sorry, what do you
Charge
want?
HQ or something like
That's
that.
the one. Charge HQ is compatible with Solar Edge. They will do what your Zappy does. Will cost you a few bucks rather than $4,000, and just put in a wall connector, which will cost you $750. If it's next to the switchboard, there shouldn't cost you more than about $400 to have an electrician put it in.
So that tiny wall there is, or that garage there is this guy here. So that wall there, switchboard's there, inverter's there.
All we can see is you at the moment, Sam. You're not sharing your screen.
Okay. Sharing now?
No. Oh yeah, here it
Yeah,
comes.
you're coming. Yep.
So there's a garage. It's full of junk. I can't park anything in there, but that wall there is that wall there. So I've got
Oh,
the-
that's almost perfect, mate. Yeah. And
So you
there's
can just
your
put it where your mouse is
solar-
right there. Stop, don't move your mouse. Where that is right there, that's basically where you could put the HPWC, which is almost super easy, almost too easy.
And that's
if
a
you wanted
double
to.
brick- that's a double brick wall as well. So
Yeah.
there'll be no external conduit. They'll be able to connect it in through the cavity.
Is it
Hey,
an
Sam,
isolated switch above it though?
I think it's a 3-phase house. Let me open the switchboard for you.
It is
Don't
3-phase.
forget, man,
I
if
saw the
you
main
are
switch.
parking there and you're on
It's
3-phase,
three-phase
you're on
instead.
11 kilowatts, you'll only be parking it there for 4 or 5 hours anyway to fully charge it.
Yeah, you've got 3-phase, Sam, and
Okay.
you've got plenty of space. So
Off the board.
there's no issue of space in your switchboard. All you need is a 3-phase RCBO, which is about 4 or 5 DIN positions, and you've got plenty of room.
Okay, is the
And then he's got to put an isolator above
HPWC?
it.
That's Tesla's wall connector. That's the thing for
Yep.
$750 at their shop. It's the white
Yep.
one that's connected to Wi-Fi. And then if
Yep.
you use Charge HQ, for the time being that it's free, that's very effective. And it's vastly cheaper than a Zappi.
HPWC stands for high powered wall connector.
Thank
so
you.
a high powered for a residential setting, it's not really high powered, it's still AC, but yeah.
And Sam, you just got to put an isolator switch above it.
You don't,
An off-on
Jared.
switch above.
You don't necessarily have to because it's
Yeah.
within arm's length of the meter of the switchboard.
Legislation states clearly that it has to have an isolator above it.
No, so
Going down that
Harold's
road.
right. If it's within, I can't remember how many
No,
meters.
if there's a doorway between, if there's a door between that and the board, you have to put an isolator in.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's in the legislation.
Okay.
If he's got the garage door shut, needs to put an isolator in above it.
If anyone's got any electricians they like in the Mount Lawley area, please hit me up in the chat. Really appreciate it. Thanks for answering my questions.
I've put up my number
Welcome.
before, Sam, so feel free just to send me a text.
Are
Yeah.
you an electrician? Sorry, is that?
I'm not, but I might be able to organise something for you. I'll put it in there again, mate.
Harold,
thanks very much.
Stefan has been trying to.
Oh yes,
speak
Stefan.
for about an
Apologies.
hour.
Go, Stefan.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. I recently had reason to go to the Tesla place in Scarborough Beach Road because my steering makes a very horrible squeaking noise. Anyway, at the time I talked to the guys there because I have ordered another Tesla and I was wondering when it was coming. And apparently it will be somewhere in December, January. So now I need to sell my old Tesla, and I just wondered whether this would be a forum, because you guys know lots of Tesla people. I don't know if you remember, but it's a somewhat unusual Tesla in that it is one of those, I think they call them stealth models. It's a 2019, it's got about 42,000 kilometers.
What colour is it, Stefan?
It's white.
Okay.
It's white, and yeah, it's in good condition. It's also got, oh no, hang on. Yeah, that stays with the car. The indefinite connectivity. So you never have to pay for connectivity, you know, Netflix and all that sort of stuff. That just is part of the car.
Does that, Harold, does that stay with the car or with the first
I was
owner?
just going to say, I sold my wife's Model S, which I believed to have lifetime premium connectivity, and I think it actually does. But the gentleman who bought it, he rang me yesterday and actually mentioned that it seemed to have evaporated. Now, I did say to him, you know, talk to Tesla about it because it might be a mistake.
I think that's a mistake, because one of the guys at Tesla, and he misunderstood me. He thought I was going to take it. I wanted to take it into my new Tesla, and that you can't do. So
No.
it is basically part of the Tesla, because when you look at the specs of it, it says it there included.
Yep. So Stefan, one issue you're going to have is if we have a look at, for example, carsales.com.au, there are 117 Model 3s for sale in Western Australia. So you might need to take a number as far as selling it.
There's
holding up
118 because mine's not on there and it's still for sale.
But,
There you go.
Harold,
Yes,
just
Pete.
just filter for performance and
Yeah,
2000.
okay.
And there'll only be a handful.
There is, yeah, it's a performance car. It's a long range performance. And I don't think there's that many. My son looked about, I think it might have been a year ago or something. He said there was one in Australia. Of
Stefan,
those-
Yeah, so
of
there's
those
20.
type of
Okay, so
cars.
apologies. There are 20 performance
Okay.
Teslas. So that's not stealth. That's not stealth. That's probably not.
How much they going for? Howard?
Don't know about
No.
that one. That's not.
No,
91.
because they're wheels. No.
Yeah, the wheels.
18-inch wheels, which
Oh,
That one is.
That one might be.
That
Yep.
is.
That's probably. 'cause that's-
19,000 Ks.
That's definitely about the price I would be looking at.
Yeah, the prices
So-
have held up really well.
900. 92.
So there are a few. Oh, that one.
75.
I'm not sure if that is a.
I think stealth as well.
Yeah.
That could be.
the
That
one
one could be
above.
a stealth as well.
He's just got the hubcaps off.
Taken. Yeah. You're right.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's a
it's got-
stealth.
it's
That's
got the
a
aero
stealth.
cuts.
So there are 20 cars in Western Australia that are performance, and perhaps two of those are stealth. But in any case, it's a game everyone plays. When you sell your car, it's a process. The market will pay for it what it believes it's worth. Yeah.
Stefan, are you on Facebook at all?
No.
Hey, Harold.
So it might be worthwhile jumping onto Facebook or getting a Facebook account. And
My
that
wife
way,
has got Facebook, so I don't know.
okay.
She could
maybe-
list it.
Yeah. So two things you can do. You can apply to be part of the Tokwa group, which we know who you are now. So
Well, I am Tokwa member.
yeah, that's fine.
On Facebook though.
Oh, I see.
So get your wife to join the Tokwa group, and we've got a trading post section where you can list your car.
Oh, okay. She's not a friend of Tesla, so might need a bit of persuasion there. Anyway.
You can always set up your own account. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or listed on car sales, which costs you about $80-90. And the first
it's more
query
than
you'll
that,
get.
Harold.
Was it $100?
I
I think
remember
it
I
was
paid
$175.
about $400, Harold.
Hey, Harold, how'd you sell your Model S?
On car sales.
There you go.
Hang on, I'll get the invoice.
I think it was.
Was it that much? Wow.
The reason
Yeah, well,
why
I'm trying to
is
sell
because-
my SR Plus Model 3, 2019, and I'm getting offers in the low 50s. And I'm going, nah, I'm going to put it
Nah.
out for rent. Fuck them.
Yeah, that's a bit too low.
When you say fuck him, Nigel, do you mean like no or?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So,
Oh,
no.
okay. All right, okay.
Actually, apologies. It cost $279. Apologies.
Yeah.
What
On car sales.
I was like, maybe join the Ava as a financial member. That's $50, and then advertise it on their for sale, their for sale page.
Yep,
that's what I did for the Mitsubishi.
Cool, Paul.
All right. Thank you for that.
That's all right.
Oh.
No worries.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Anyone else got any other questions or comments before we go through a few other items
Yeah,
that we haven't got
I've
to yet?
actually got something. I was speaking to AutoFlip this week, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll probably get you about 53 if you're lucky." And I'm going, but hold on, my car's got full self-driving, HomeLink, PPF, blah blah blah. And they go, well, full self-driving they can't advertise because it's completely illegal. You can't have it. And I'm going, you don't know what the bloody hell you're talking about,
God, no.
idiot.
Who said
You
that?
can't use the summon in Western Australia, but he's saying the full self-drive is illegal. Nobody can advertise it. And I'm going,
said that?
no, you're talking bullshit, mate.
Have you read the fine print under the Kia ad when the Kia ad comes up? And the,
Yeah, well, that's for the
Drive?
summon,
Yeah.
not the full self-drive.
But that's private property that you're using that on, so I don't understand where that's an issue. You use
Rightio, interesting.
Yeah, so he's saying that all the dealers aren't advertising FSD because it's illegal. Yeah. So I'm not selling it. I'm going to rent it out. Bugger it.
Cool. By the way, Turo has come to Australia, so
Yeah, I've just registered with Turo to do it.
Yep, they're launching on the 30th of November, I believe, or maybe it must be the 1st of December. So you've got to get all your stuff ready if you're an early adopter of Turo, I think by the 30th of November to rent on that
Yeah,
platform.
they've got to speak to you and interview you. So I'm doing that on Friday.
It's a lot of work
Fantastic.
to sell a car these days, Nige. You're just better off just keeping it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look,
Put it
I'm
in the
going to
back
keep
paddock.
it and rent it
Yeah.
out, and it can make me money. Bugger it.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Something that's going to be useful when you rent your car out, which is the Albany Supercharger. And the great news is that the City of Albany aren't messing around. This is actually the parking spaces for the Synergy section of this charging location. And then the next one is...
Are they moving quick, Harold, because they have a portable toilet in the background?
Yeah, let's hope
Yeah.
they keep that, eh?
So they
Yeah,
can
that's
just
right.
keep
So-
that pace up?
So this is the Synergy section, and then this part on the corner is the Tesla section. So this is where you'll have 6 stalls of supercharger, and then this section is where you'll have the I think it might be the 2 DC chargers or a DC charger and an AC
Where is it?
backup.
Sorry.
In Albany, it's near the old jail. That's the old jail just there, and yeah, this is going to be Tesla's Albany supercharger.
Brilliant.
So it's making great progress. The City of Albany aren't messing around. So I dare say that car park will be ready to be I was going to say dug up, but they're not going to dig it up. The actual charges are between the 2 parking areas. So yeah, hopefully that bodes well for an early next year installation or whatever of certainly the Synergy part, and then Tesla will put in their supercharger when they're good and ready.
Russell's got his hand up.
Oh, Russell, go.
Forgot where the mute button was. A quick question about charging. Thanks for answering all their questions, by the way. Forget a UMC and I'll plug it into 3-phase. Does it just load up one phase? Does it pick one phase, or is it wired to one phase, or what happens?
Yeah, so, well, the UMC, the Universal Mobile Connector, which is the thing that used to come for free in the boot of the car, Tesla do not sell a 3-phase tail for it. It comes with a 10 amp, actually, correction. At the moment, it's coming with an 8 amp that plugs into a 10 amp GPO and a 12 amp tail that plugs into a 15 amp GPO. You can also buy from various places such as EVSE selling companies and Alibaba. You can buy a Clipsal 32 amp 3-phase plug that is attached to a tail that works with the UMC. The only disadvantage of that is that it then causes the UMC to pull 32 amps through that one phase, which is L1, the first phase on the 3-phase plug. If you've got, for example, a single phase house, then that is not an issue, because single phase houses can have 63 amps single phase, unless you're in rural areas where most of them can only consume 32 amps. So for instance, I know someone that lives in Merredin. They've got a non-Tesla EV and they were wondering why they were blowing the boundary fuse. They blew it twice. Western Power then said to them very calmly that if you do it again, we're going to charge you money for it. And then we basically worked out that he only had 32 amp allocation. So that's that. So yeah, unfortunately, Tesla, anyone that looks at a UMC, if you pull the tail out, you'll actually see there are what would have been 2 extra connections, and that would have been for the 3-phase part. But for reasons best known to Tesla, they decided to omit that in their design or when they built them.
Also, the UMC has pins for it, but not connected to anything.
The tail does. The UMC itself has the cutout and the receptacle for the pins, but they never actually fitted them in their final production version.
Okay.
I dare say as a cost-cutting measure.
So the answer is you load one phase if you do it that way.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yes. Yep.
Cheers.
Okay. Now we've got to get on some other news. Some very good news that we got, and I just got to bring up this email. I'll show you the map first, which is that map right there. And actually, let me just bring up emails so I can get the correct email. Okay, so the map's there. And the email that this relates to is from a gentleman from the RAA, whose name
James Holman.
James Holman, thanks, Pete. It's James Holman from the RAA. And what he basically confirmed in response to an email that Rob Dean sent him was that each of these locations is going to have either a 150 kilowatt Kempower dual outlet charger, fast DC charger, which is basically all but identical to what the Synergy part of the WA highway is going to have. And there are going to be some locations, strangely, that are going to have a 200 kilowatt so-called ultra high speed DC charger, although frustratingly, it's going to have a single CCS outlet and a CHAdeMO outlet, which means it's basically a single car use station, albeit it'll be able to deliver up to 200 kilowatts. So that's really...
Cars in Australia at the moment have a CHAdeMO socket plug. Socket.
Dozens of them, you mean already in Australia or coming into Australia?
No, models. So the old Leaf,
Fev,
Outlander Fev.
Outlander Fev.
The new version, not the older one. Yeah.
Mitsubishi IMEV.
IMEV. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so old. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, but no, there's fuck all in terms of.
And I think there are precisely 0 new cars being imported into Australia with CHAdeMO.
So there's 3 old models, 0 new ones, and we're dedicating half the. It's so silly.
Complete lunacy, but they
What
want to.
a waste! What you know?
It's the
Are they
problem when-
retrofittable? Can it be changed after the fact?
Yes.
That sounds like a government thing. Putting it in first and then spend more money changing it afterwards.
It's a problem when you
Except
get
they
people
won't.
doing the tender that don't own EVs and don't understand.
Except they won't, because it's done by an organisation called the RAA. So that's the South Australian version of the RAC. So they are not going to get changed. But I think the majority of the charges are going to be the 150 kilowatt dual outlet CCS. So it probably won't be a huge issue. The only thing that Rob would point out is that they are unfortunately putting one of the charging stations at Border Village, which is about 25 or 30 kilometres from Eucla, and Eucla is going to have a fast DC charger there. And the next charger is Yalalta, which is an uninhabited fuel dump, which is not an issue, but it's 280 kilometres to Border Village. It would be much better if they would move the Border Village charger to Nullarbor Roadhouse, so that it evens up the gap a bit more. But anyway, it is what it is.
So how many of those 3 old cars can do 280 kilometres at 110 k an hour?
Precisely none of them.
None of them.
Exactly. So complete nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you want to go with the theme of complete nonsense, then let's look at, and we're talking about multiple plugs and standards, then let's just look at the opening of the North American Charging Standard, which is what Tesla has self-proclaimed their chargers to be. And you'll notice that they even say up to 1 megawatt DC charging. And these things will do up to 1,000 volts. So when you do basic maths, to get a megawatt out of 1,000 volts, you need to push 1,000 amps through the connector. And a great thing I love is that the last part, and we are actively working with relevant standards bodies to codify Tesla's charging connector as a public standard. What that is code for is this is not a standard. They are wishing for the standards bodies to adopt this as a standard, but it's not actually a standard.
But it's already called a standard.
Yeah, and calling it a standard is akin to is just bullshit. You know, that's what it is. In a more polite sense, you'd call that bullshit. And that's exactly what it is. There is actually a little bit of, excuse me. There is a little bit of an Easter egg in it though, because they have actually defined a new 1000 volt version of their connector. And in the Q1 earnings call, there was something very interesting that was said, and I'll play the audio now.
Separately, why isn't Tesla using 800 volt architecture in its vehicles? What are the advantages or disadvantages?
Yeah, sure. On the 800 volt thing, yeah. So it's really a case by case thing for the smaller platform vehicles like 3 and Y. There's some wins and losses with 800 volts. Not everything is better, and so we look at that platform, and we're not like ignoring the reality that you could go to a higher voltage, but there's nothing really encouraging us to do so on that platform. It's really about mass and power, and as you look at bigger vehicles, there are some advantages on those bigger vehicles.
Yeah, I would just quantify that. Basically, like our estimate is that going from 400 to 800 volts might save $100.
Yep.
It's not really moving the needle.
And you're changing many things.
Yes, exactly.
From the charging infrastructure all the way through the entire vehicle system.
Yes.
To get maybe $100.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, in the US, you've got 110 volt household power or voltage, and then in most parts of the world, you have like sort of 220. But really, it doesn't make that much of a difference, and appliances work pretty much as well, in say Europe as they do in the US.
Yeah.
So there's some the advantages are small, and the cost is high. Like so if say like long term, like years from now, does it make sense to probably move to an 800 volt architecture? I said probably, but it really needs a very big vehicle volume to pay for all the costs of changing from 400 to 800 volts. And then do you want to continue with the?
I was just going to say that 100 volts is also kind of like a spreadsheet exercise, right?
$100.
Sorry, $100 is roughly like a spreadsheet exercise. Like, that you have to get through the full program to the end to see that maybe it's been whittled away to 50 or less.
Yeah.
On bigger vehicles where you're talking about higher power on the charging side or higher power from the battery to the power electronics, or you need more torque, so the current requirements go up. There's a little bit more semiconductor and actual conductor savings of going to the higher voltage. And so we do consider that for Semi and Cybertruck, but for the 3Y platform where we've got everything running and the benefit is questionably small.
Yeah, it's basically zero for Robotaxi.
Yeah, for Robotaxi, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So there's the Easter egg. They've basically confirmed, I believe, that the Cybertruck will go to 800 volt architecture, and they've got the connector to use on it. So there you go. That's for all of us that have got Cybertruck reservations. It's going to be an awesome bit of kit.
Harold, there's two people with their hand up now.
Oh, who was first? Nigel?
Christian.
I'll go Christian. Christian, go Christian.
Hey guys, I have a question for you guys, which is not necessarily charging related, but driving around with my little 3-year-old, is complaining about that the sun goes in from the side, and I was wondering if any one of you could recommend some sort of a sunshade thing or something like this for the side windows for the Tesla Model 3.
But you've got sunshades and stuff. You've got those privacy things for your Model Y that you'd better get the same things for Model 3, wouldn't you, on Teslas or Tessaries or something similar?
Did anyone try it out? Is there anything good there that'll work out? Like, I just want to know that someone has tried it, and it's like, I found some stuff online, obviously, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel it looks a bit flimsy, a little bit like, yeah. Does anyone have kids and have has installed something in their Model 3 and they're happy with it? No.
I just bought some from Supercheap, just some generic ones. The ones with the suction cups.
Yeah.
They sort of do the job. Obviously, when you roll down the window, the suction cups fly off. So you just got to be careful.
Yeah, that's good. To
you could also just get some netting or some material and basically just make a sock for the window. And because the window doesn't have a frame, it's easy to put around it. So you could always try that. But then your consumption is going to go up quite a bit because you're going to affect your aerodynamics, with a flappy bit of material. So
awesome.
You could always put a hat on them, Christian. Just get a hat and put the hat on.
I know.
And that will
First,
keep
the
the
straight jacket.
shade
The
off.
straight jacket is anyhow already in my, like what I have to have. And I think the helmet's the next. I think you're right. You're absolutely right.
Helmet, yeah, worked out.
Yeah. I have a second question because we were on charging. We're gonna go down to Denmark in end of December, and I will put on a roof box. So playing around with the better route planner and sort of allowing for sort of 30% more consumption compared to not having anything on top of it. It suggests like definitely Williams go get there, charge to 95% or something like this. And I could technically drive all the way through to Denmark, but would have possibly the option of doing another charge in Kojonup. But it seems like that charge is quite heavily used, huh? Is there any experience there? Like, because it's only one with 50, no?
I had a pretty bad experience when I rocked up. It didn't work, even though someone used it earlier that day or the day before. I can't remember. But then it ended up being out for another 2 weeks before it was fixed. As a plan too, the Home Timber Hardware has a destination charger, which is obviously a lot lower, but that's your plan B if needed. I didn't hear before. What did you say you're allowing the extra 30% for?
Having a roof box on the roof, like
Is it
like
one of those fuel ones, the THULE or
Thule?
From Thule, yeah, it's a Pacific 200. So it's not like one of the most aerodynamic ones, but they're all pretty terrible in terms of your consumption. So just have to probably go a bit slower.
Well, Christian, why don't you do an experiment? Why don't you just take it down to Mandurah or something, just for on the weekend or something, just to get a gauge on loss, a reference, because it might only be 15% or 10%.
I was just renting it, so I don't have it right now there. I have the roof rack installed. That doesn't do much of a change in terms of the consumption. That by itself is actually not that bad.
Is it the Tesla roof rack that you used, or
different one? Exactly. Yeah, I got the Tesla one, and that, I mean, it's really nicely shaped and stuff like this. So I was figuring, like, I do what you guys say, like, just like if it gets bad, just go slower. Like if that were to be the problem. I think the issue would be is like if we had a strong easterly or something like southerly easterly, then this would make things a bit more dicey.
Christian, just so when I did that with Harold, when we did the trip around Australia, I was averaging 156 watt hours in my Model Y. And then the last leg from Meriden to Perth, I got hit by 40km/h crosswinds. So not directly driving into the wind, but at a fair angle, and rain and everything. And my consumption went up to 230 watt hours, and I averaged 220 just for that leg. So if you have that extra wind drag, that could be amplified even further. So just keep that in your back pocket. But exactly what Harold said, I was going to suggest the exact same thing, because I don't think we've got any data. I mean, if you're asking about trailers, we could tell you, but I don't think anyone. Well, I don't know anyone that's tried the fuel. So
I'll share with you guys. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos that some did sort of semi-scientific tests, but essentially there was one guy that did a trip up to Scotland and back, and like he actually had a trailer attachment for bikes and a roof rack, and for him was about 30% on average. And I figured like there was, I think, a round trip of 1,500, 2,000 kilometers or so. That's a pretty good average. So I figured just plan that in, and didn't sound they had to go much slower because, they have really good charging infrastructure, or at least better than ours. So, I mean, what is pretty shocking is like after Williams, it looks pretty dire. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, if there is someone at Kojonup charging, the most they'll spend is about 40 minutes,
right?
Maybe an hour. Worst case, if you turn up just as someone's reversing into the charger, say, and they want to charge completely full, presuming that they, I don't know, drove from Perth to Kojonup and didn't charge at Williams, that's the worst case. So you might have to wait an hour. But on the other hand, it's equally just as likely that you might not have to wait at all, and it'll be perfectly okay. You just charge for 40 minutes and
yeah, if it works. I mean, that's what
saving.
like Pete was saying. That's the only thing. It's like if that thing just can't activate. But I think overall this charge is more up than down. There are others that are a bit more dicey,
14th of November is the last. Yeah, we got the BYD Atto 3 that's charged twice on the 14th. So that's only 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's good.
So it doesn't look too bad.
I used it, and it was about a year ago, and it was saying unavailable on the app, but it still worked. And I think there was a comment there on PlugShare that said that same thing. So don't just walk if it says unavailable on the app, don't believe it. Just plug it in and see what happens.
Oh, cheers, mate. I also have the RFID card from ChargeFox. Yeah, which that should also be ChargeFox if I'm not mistaken. I think so. I hope so. So that should hopefully, in the event of whatever, that should help a bit, but we'll see.
It is, yes, it is ChargeFox. It says it just in small print here, ChargeFox on the
yeah, exactly.
side. Yeah.
And Christian, if you get stuck as a member of the club, you get a copy of Harold's credit card, so you can always use that if you get you need to check into a hotel or anything. We'll get you a copy of that one.
All right, I'll keep that.
Rightio, moving right along. I'm going to throw to Michael, then I'm going to throw to Andrew, because I found what Andrew got me. But before, hang on, we've got to throw. Michael's had his hand up very patiently, Jared. So we're going to go right to him now. Michael, shoot.
Just a quick question. Does anyone else's cameras seem a bit yellow? Or is that just how it is?
In what sense? Which camera?
All the cameras seem to have a bit of a yellow tinge to them.
No, okay, so you're looking at dash cam footage, right? So what you'll
like the indicator, like when you indicate and all that, they seem a bit. The color seems a bit off.
Yes, so that means when you put your indicator on and you've got the side camera show up on your screen So yes, they do look a bit yellow. The color is a bit off because it's not perfect RGB colors. The only one that is perfect, actually even the rear camera I don't think is exactly perfect. Although I think it's better. It's closer to RGB that you're used to. Yeah. The point is that the other cameras, so you've got your two backwards facing side cameras, which you see when you're indicating. And if you also use dash cam, and when you view that footage, even the front facing cameras, the color is a bit off, but it's by design because they're designed for maximum dynamic range and contrast and sensitivity, and they have less importance on color accuracy. So you'll actually notice there is a bit of a difference. If you look at your rear view camera, and compare it to the side cameras or any other camera, the rear view looks much more, if you call it realistic or true color than the others.
Okay.
It's not a fault. They're all the same.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
In fact, if you look at the old S and X cameras, they are actually called RCCC. They're only got a red pixel and 3 black and white pixels. So their color looks way off.
Okay.
And in fact, I've actually got a photo of that that's actually features Jared. So Jared, you can jump in, and while you're talking, I'm going to put in an image of what my car saw of you at the movies.
Oh, that
Just
night.
for fun, yes.
I paid the money. You weren't playing that anymore. Okay.
You know what? You never pay money to extortionists. They always come back, mate. They always
Not the
keep
Russian ones. They're
extorting.
really good. Like they help out a lot they can.
That image was actually this one right there. So that's another burnt orange car. That's actually Jared's car in burnt orange.
Yeah, it's shocking.
And that's what the color does.
Yeah, it's definitely yellow.
Yeah, it's definitely the burnt orange. I just want to make a quick mention about this Saturday, as all paid up members should be aware.
Oh, we're going to do that a bit later, Jared. That was my last one on the list.
Some people don't stay up later than 9 o'clock.
It's the one that's right there.
Okay.
Okay, go, Jared.
Because some of them go to bed early. Some of them, like Grumpy Old Man, he'll be gone in 5 minutes. So this Saturday at the Kareen Hotel is the national meeting. So
State meeting, AGM, annual general
AGM,
meeting.
That's right,
Jared.
general meeting. Yeah, and there'll be a lucky dip, a pass the parcel. Are you doing that one, Harold? No, it's just the voting.
I didn't see that. I didn't see a lucky dip on the agenda. No,
I thought we were
maybe
doing
not.
the pass the parcel thing, or I don't know. I can't remember.
Don't know about pass the parcel.
What about ferry
It's going to
bread?
be strictly a voting thing that you do, and that's it. Yeah, it should be a great Saturday morning and lunch. And
Yeah, it's at 10:30. I'll just have a look. If you've gotten an email from me, please do act on it. We currently have, I'm just logging in to try booking. We currently have 33 people attending.
And
So
all the main members will be there, so you get to actually meet the people that are on the committee.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the attendance list.
Oh, okay.
So
I actually booked 2, but my wife's not coming now, but I will be.
Okay, well, you need to be there. And
Yeah,
Andrew
just-
Harvey
no,
will
I
be there.
delete-
Maybe-
Jared, if I don't want to be, I don't have to be.
Oh, I think you should. I think you should be there because people want to meet you.
No, I'm going to get grumpy. Are you going to be there? I'm not coming.
Oh, I'll be there. Oh, definitely there.
Oh dear.
Andrew Harvey will be there. He's going to be signing autographs. He's going across Australia in X amount of days and surviving. So, yeah, it should be.
And then getting back home from he took him 8-9 days to get to Sydney and only like a few hours to come back. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, Qantas did their best to make it take longer.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have done their absolute best to screw you over the best they can. That's good.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. So what I was going to
So is
do
it-
is actually throw to. Sorry, I was just going to throw to Andrew.
Alex.
To Andrew, because before it does get too late, we want to mention the Perth to Sydney Marathon, which is something that Andrew was stupid enough to participate in, and survived. So Andrew, should we throw to this video first?
Yeah,
then
I was going to say do the video first, and that's like a bit of a. So this is a 2-minute overview of basically the whole thing.
Oh, awesome. Let me just get it ready and make sure the volume is up. Yep, yes it is. All right, here we go. Oh,
Hey guys, I'm Jürgen. I'm driving the Ampol AmpCharge Toshiba Racing Tesla Model 3 in the Perth to Sydney Marathon. We're going to have a ball. awesome day. We had a ball. Really emotional. We did this. Really happy. Ampol Charge, thank you for the support. First time an EV has participated in one of these marathon rallies, and we got through unscathed. Wrapped, absolutely wrapped.
Unscathed.
Yeah, that's a bit of poetic license there. The car came across unscathed. Tires fared a little bit worse for wear. Just to start on that, there was one particular point 16 kilometres out of Nullarbor Roadhouse on the old air highway that cars had gone through and uncovered a rock that was in a puddle that I think us and 3 other cars went through, and the Sejuna tyre and tyre place made a lot of money that day at the end of the day, fixing all these tyres. So yeah, popped 2 tyres, dented 4 rims in total throughout the whole rally. So yeah. Yeah, so that was just a quick overview of the whole thing. It was just an epic time. 11 days for us as the charging crew, because we left a day ahead to get up to where we need to get to. And then the first day that the rally cars took off, some of you guys were up there with us, which is awesome. Up at Myling was the first charge where we did. And then the next 10 days we did 5,500 Ks, 5,522 to be exact, in the truck that I was driving, which is behind me here. And
that would have been fun.
Yeah. Sorry?
That would have been fun in that truck.
Yeah, let's just say the seating in the truck wasn't the most plush in the world. So I was very glad to get into my own car when I got back. Yeah. And I don't know if anyone's driven a truck, but the driver's seat is a sprung seat. So bouncing along the highway at every bump and every pothole. As soon as you get over, I don't know if anyone's driven across there, but Harold, Pete, you can attest, you did it recently. The South Australian New South Wales border, there's a line in the sand, and it's just potholes from there on in New South Wales. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So what was that, Jared? Pretty good. We'd pre-planned it, and we only camped that first night. But it was pretty plush camping. We were camping on the Myling Sports Oval, so it was nice and comfortable. Pete did his in the back of the car trick.
It's fucking Hotel Pete.
Yeah, but every other night, every other night
there was
at a roadhouse or
That's good.
There was a couple of mozzies around.
Yeah, a few.
Couple of flies. Sorry.
But to be honest, I would rather have the flies compared to what happened on day 2. Day 1 was beautiful weather. Day 2 is this thing behind me here. Torrential rain. It just started and didn't stop. We were traveling east, and that's the direction that the weather goes from WA. So the storm that hit us on day 2 continued to hit us on day 3, 4, and 5. So it took us until we got to a place called Rawnsley Park in South Australia. that, that's all right. Yeah, until we got to Ronsley Park in South Australia when the weather started to clear up a bit. So,
How many Ks, Andrew, were you driving a day?
it varied. Some days were big. I mean, we did 1,000 kilometers in one day, on day 3, just because day 2 just kicked our ass basically. The weather just turned really bad, and it took us a lot longer to get out from this spot here, in Lake King. We did about 170 kilometers on gravel road in the truck. That was definitely not up to scratch for the for the conditions, but we got through it, and but we were a little bit short on it. So the next day we had to do 1,000 kilometers from Salmon Gums up to Nullarbor Roadhouse, but generally 400, 500, 600 k's a day, which when the car can do 200 k's in a full charge in those conditions, we're all talking about trying to get as much out of it as possible. But when you put raised suspension, all-terrain tires, this is a good example. I think this is on the Nullarbor. When you put raised suspension, all-terrain tires, the nudge bar in the front with the lights, and the amount of weight that they were carrying, because they had to carry spare tires and tools and gear to, camp and all that kind of stuff. You had to have 3 days worth of emergency rations just in case. So having all that in the car just killed the consumption. So 200 k's was kind of our limit. We could push it to maybe 220 on a highway, but otherwise it was 200 k's. So every 200 k's we were stopping, or there was a vehicle, one of the charging assets, stopping along the way to be ready for it. So yeah.
You were really lucky on this one that you didn't snap the valve stem, because that's where the dent was, right where the valve is.
Yeah. I think we dented 4 rims in total.
And
they're just
cook on the side of the road, Andrew, like for meals and stuff, or?
I mean, you can't really see in this photo, but what's going on here is Tim, my co-driver, on the side of the truck, we had the camp kitchen going. So for the first 4 or 5 days, we'd just, every time we'd stop, pull down the side, put out the awning, which is above us here, which Harold put up a picture of windmills before. That was in Penong. The awning didn't survive after Penong. a freak storm hit us, and the awning was open at the time we were having lunch, and the rear of the awning snapped off. So
that's just near the caravan park. That's a good spot in Penong.
Did you have any of the same problems that Pete had on the drive across? Did you have any issues with
There's just having pancakes on the side of the road.
Very nice.
No, I mean, did you have issues with the meter maids like Pete did in Queensland?
No, we didn't get to Queensland.
Oh, you didn't go that far? Oh, okay.
No.
There's no meter maids anymore, Jared.
Oh, yes, there are, Carmen. They're always a meter maid. Reallocated.
But as long as as well as all the difficulties of the sort of day 2 to 5, I think it was, there's some amazing experiences. I mean, we saw snow at Mount Hotham in November. Like, it was just magical being up there at that time. Driving the truck up Mount Hotham was an experience that I probably never want to do again. But being up there on the top of the mountain with snow around us, we had snowball fights. It was magical. There you go.
And after the frostbite kicked in, it was really good.
It was actually quite warm.
Was it?
Yeah. But this is snow in Mount Hotham in November.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
How Aussie's that?
Pretty Aussie. And did you keep a tally, Andrew, of how many dim sims you did on the way across another ball?
Didn't actually get any.
Oh, really? You didn't get up to the 300 mark like Pete did? There you go.
No.
Hit any animals? Any wild animals across the road?
No, thankfully the positive of the rain was that it kept them all away.
Yeah, right.
So we didn't see any kangaroos at all the whole
Possums
trip.
or anything? Nothing?
We saw one emu on the side of the road on
snakes?
Nullarbor that popped its head up. It was off the side of the road and then popped its head back down again. We saw a lot of deceased animals on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Surprised at how big a wombat is when it's puffed up and sitting on the side of the road. Wouldn't want to hit one of them. The most amount of damage to the vehicles was, other than the tires on the race car, was cracked windows from stones being flicked up on the less than perfect roads through New South Wales and Victoria. We had 2 or 3 stone chips in our truck. The other truck, the window has to be replaced. It got cracked. I think the battery van had a couple of cracks, and the 4-wheel drive that we had as well, that got a few. I think John's Model Y came through unscathed, thankfully. But
Awesome, and we'll hopefully see that tomorrow, I guess, if he's in Kalgoorlie tonight.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah,
he should be in tomorrow, which would be great.
We've got, there's an awful lot of content. Harold's been showing some stuff that was on the social media channels, but we had a social media guy doing all the work, posting 2 or 3 times a day on all the channels, and it was just watching it all go up was amazing.
Yeah, sorry, I just got it flicked up a little bit. Oh, that's a bit rude of me to turn John off.
Did you get
We're doing this Perth to Sydney Marathon. We're basically racing the Tesla Model 3 across to Sydney. We've got the Tesla Model Y behind me. It's a mascot vehicle. The reason we're doing it is to prove that these vehicles can traverse the country with ease. It's just a simple matter of having the charging available. We're bringing mobile chargers, as per the one right behind me here. Can be done carbon neutral to run this thing on this recycled vegetable oil. But yeah, charging and proving that these EVs can go anywhere.
That was the Team Galar in front of the big Galar.
Andrew, did you get much? Was there lots of corporate sponsorship? You get a lot of jackets, pants, hats,
Well,
stubby holders.
with
The important stuff.
I got the hat on, yeah. So yeah, we had the hats, jackets, and shirts.
As many boost juice as you could drink at the Ampols.
No, we didn't get any freebies out of that, unfortunately. Had to pay for our own. Yeah. But we kind of colloquially called ourselves the Smurf Army, because there was all of us walking around in blue shirts or blue jackets with white hats on. So the blue Smurfs,
Awesome.
and we were the biggest single team in the field. So when there's 15 of us or 16 of us, some of them are just 2 people in a car, with no support vehicles. So. It's I think 75 started, and I think I can't remember the exact number, but 63 cars finished. A few dropped out with damage to the cars. There was one crash between 2 cars on day 1, unfortunately. There was a COVID case in one team, so they dropped out for that. But yeah, there was no major issues with most of the cars, other than the standard things you think of, with pop tires and that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, and pretty big kudos or props to the teams that had 1 car and 2 people. I mean, that's pretty gutsy.
Yeah, there was a family from Perth who drove over, and so it was mum and dad and 2 kids, and the kids were like 11 and 14, a boy and a girl. And so,
wow.
The kids would sit in the back playing Nintendo Switch or reading a book while driving down the old air highway gravel road. They were nuts. They're just the most lovely people as well. So
did they make it all the way?
Yeah, yep, they made it all the way.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah. And they were one of the few teams where the kids got a trophy at the end as well. So yeah.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
The whole thing was a year or so in planning. And at the start of it, I'm like, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into here? This is absolutely ridiculous. The thing we're trying to do. And even when we started, we're like, I don't know how this is going to go. And then as soon as we got going, it just happened. And we rolled with the punches. They changed the route because of the weather. They changed the route because of the floods in New South Wales and Victoria. There's a landslide at Falls Creek that stopped the rally cars going through Falls Creek, and they had to go up Mount Hotham with us. So there's a lot of changes we were doing nightly, debriefs and figuring out what's happening the next day, and changing the plan as we went. But because we had such a good base plan at the start, changing it every day, it was as easy, and we're able to get through it all.
And how did the Starlink comms go? As if I didn't know.
Brilliant. Thank you to Pete. I'll call him out for lending his one to us. It's still not back to you. It's still sitting in Victoria, unfortunately. We probably should have put it on one of the other tracks to come back. But I've got I'll show a picture if I can. Surprisingly, the base of Starlink fit on top of our roof rack.
To the millimeter.
Yeah.
It's incredible. What was the chances?
So this is the base of Starlink fit perfectly on the thing. So we lashed the base on the top there, and we just take the actual satellite dish off every time we didn't need it, and put it back in the top there. So that's us doing a oil and water check halfway through of the truck. But yeah, that was a funny photo showing the Starlink on the roof. So
yeah, absolutely, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and of course I knew that. Go, Andrew.
I was going to say Starlink just is amazing. Really, what it is, it's just you plug it in, you give it 5 minutes to find the satellites, and it's off.
And I think Pete finds it's more amazing now that it's half price after he bought two at full price.
Yeah,
he just really loves Starlink so much.
And Harold, you got. I never asked you what you got your third one for.
$924, Pete, because why wouldn't I pay full price as an early adopter?
No, I didn't mean the price. I mean the purpose. Because you already have two. Yeah.
That's easy because I'm an idiot. That's why. So actually, I can now claim that I bought it as an operational spare, which I'm using currently, because the one that it was sandbagged to the roof of the place my kids are renting stopped working, the round one. So I had to press the rectangular, the third dish, the second rectangular one into service. Sorry, it's the only rectangular one I've got that I took around Australia. I had to put that onto the roof of the rental.
Right.
Because Starlink or SpaceX have to replace the round one. It just stopped dead, just stopped working. But Andrew, I knew that you were going to have pretty good service, because right now, officially, Australia has full service throughout the entire continent.
Nice.
Except for those couple little holes.
Yeah, so obviously this hole to the west is the Murchison square kilometre array, but these two holes have popped up, and that one is unsurprisingly Parkes. So that's where you've got NASA's Deep Space Observatory. And this one, I presume, is a similar one as well. No, that's not Lucas Heights, is it?
No,
I don't think so. No, I think it's I think there would be another ground station, Earth station for NASA or whatever. But basically, as you can see on the map, full coverage. And then as we zoom right out, that worked well. As you zoom right out, you've got, even the poles are being covered. Antarctica, they just don't show because there aren't many customers there, but they are actually using it at one of the bases in Antarctica. That's pretty awesome.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, we were using it here in this picture at Lake King. And if we didn't have that, we would have had almost zero communication with anybody.
Yep.
Because it was just, there was no mobile coverage, even on Telstra. But plugged it in, and straight away we were communicating. And now that you can do Wi-Fi calling, or there's apps to, WhatsApp and that kind of stuff, you can do Wi-Fi calls, it was a no-brainer to take along. It'd be even cooler if we could get the new RV version, because the top of the truck is a flat generator. It would have been perfect place to mount it and have it permanently running the whole time.
That's right. So you can mount it like this. So actually mount it on what they call a wedge mount. So it's on a slight forward angle. I think that's more for aerodynamic reasons. So it sort of doesn't catch the wind.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Cool.
Good work.
Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, it was and
Good work.
It just I would do it again in a heartbeat, to be honest. Maybe not in a truck. I'll do it in my own car. I'll drive it myself.
It's pretty.
You just got to get 13 other mates to come with you.
Yeah, and some crazy guy to fund it all and get all the corporate sponsorship going, and yeah.
Carmen was thinking
months
about
and
actually
months.
doing it at one stage, but then she realised it doesn't go past Keith and Peppermint Grove, and it's actually a little bit further. So she went, "No, I'm not doing it." It's just it was a little rally.
I'll have you know. I'll have you know that apart from the Gun Barrel Highway, I have driven all around Australia. Thank you.
Sorry, Amelia Earhart spoke. Sorry. Here we go.
So Jared, how many times have you driven around Australia?
Twice, I think. Across the Nullarbor about 15 times.
Yeah, but what about around?
I think it's about twice.
Right. Well, Carmen's
You're
done
a
it.
masochist.
So
I only did the Nullarbor once, and then after that, I found alternative.
Yeah, I did that. I've done the Nullarbor, like I said, during the day a lot. The last two times was at night, and that was really, really fucking scary. I've never been so frightened in my life as a truck driver. And it was hot. It was in summer, and there was shit all over the road, and I was hitting stuff and worried about my crossover tank fuel lines getting ripped out, and the other driver was asleep, and I was waking up. I was driving sweating, and it was just horrible. Yeah,
the last 200 k's of our 1,000 kilometre day was from Euclid to Nullarbor Roadhouse, and we left there at 6:30 at night, I think it was, and it was just raining. That video Harold showed before, I think it wasn't us, it was one of the other vehicles, but it was scary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not nice, especially in a truck, in a big truck. It's just, and I've got total respect for semi-drivers that drive at night now because of it. So, 100% respect for truck drivers now because of it.
Yeah.
It's just so dangerous.
It's a big job. I flew to Adelaide, and then we drove a replica of the first car that went to Ayers Rock and Alice Springs called the Angelina. We had a car made, a tram made in Perth that looked like the first Angelina vehicle, and we drove it through Coober Pedy to Alice Springs.
Wow. When you never stop surprising me, you'll even tell me next week that you're on the Wright brothers flight for 3 minutes. You're a passenger. And you just got a cup
That's
of
not
tea.
very kind, Jared.
I mean, like, a young Wright brothers.
That's
flight,
okay.
you know?
Well, I can tell you that I went with my engineer husband to Mackay in Queensland to a mine site called Saraji, and I had to fly in to do the shopping actually, and I was in a camp. I was the only female there in the camp, and they put me on as a telephonist. And I was there while they were building the road between Saraji and Mackay in Queensland.
Is that the car you drove? That car there?
No.
Who's
That's an old Ford Anglia.
That's
No.
yeah, I was going to say it's.
is that not what the car was? No, it wasn't. Did you say?
That was an Anglia, wasn't it?
No. We had a car, a tram made to look like the first vehicle that drove to Alice Springs, called the Angelina.
I was trying to look at it. I would like it as Angelina Jolie.
Google Angelina.
Carmen, you didn't have one of those Sandmans, did you? One of those van truck things when you were younger?
When they call it a shaggin' wagon?
The love heart, love heart cut in the middle. That one?
Now I stuck to normal vehicles, but we had a Bell Brothers ute to go to Mackay.
Bell Brothers. Who's that? Holden?
Yes.
Yeah, Bell Brothers. Yeah, that's not bad.
Can you find the Angelina? That's it. The
Yeah,
first
there it is.
Angelina vehicle.
How's going?
So we did a replica of their travels the first
that.
time, but we had a tram made in Perth, and the guy who made it drove it to Adelaide, and we flew to Adelaide and then drove. I haven't done the Gun Barrel Highway. That's the only bit.
That one there.
Yep.
Yeah, I imagine that would be another shit.
Is that one of the Leyland brothers?
Actually,
Yeah,
it looks like Pete
I was
Petrosky, actually,
thinking
with his hat on there. Old Pete Petrosky driving the old Ford FT coming down. What are you fellas?
1908. They'd been travelling for just 42 days and covered 3,400 kilometres, which is not bad considering that there were very few good roads on the way. Sometimes they had to cross deserts littered with boulders. On other occasions, they had to fit extra wheels to negotiate sandhills. To cross creek beds, they used long canvas mats under the wheels. But sometimes the car was bogged down to its axles anyway. Near Darwin, they had to hack their way through jungle. But I know what you're going to say. Where did they find the petrol stations? I'm glad you asked. They actually sent a camel train ahead to drop barrels of petrol at regular intervals.
Hang on. So that sounds a little bit like someone called Tokeva that was sending EV car chargers ahead.
And
Yeah,
people on
Andrew
social
Humphrey's a
media
camel
were
train.
going, "Why would you ever do that? It's stupid." You know, it just shows that EVs aren't the way. We're like, well, there you go. That's exactly why we did it, because we were those camels.
Yes.
The camel train.
Actually, Carmen, I think you lost one of your tyres, and Mike Leyland's found one for you. It's right there.
I believe that's Micah Mal Leyland.
He mentioned
AKA Harold Murphy and Pete Petrosky, Micah Mal Leyland.
he mentioned a time frame there. They were traveling for however long. Just to put what we just did into perspective, we did the whole thing in 10 days.
Wow.
The original London to Sydney marathon, excluding the travel time between, when the cars are on a ship between, I can't remember where, to Perth, they did the whole London to Sydney marathon in 10 days. They did the Perth to Sydney section in 3 days.
Wow.
Yep.
They just didn't stop. They were running constantly 24/7, 2 guys or 3 people in the cars, taking in turns, sleep in the back. It was absolutely nuts. I mean, in terms of driving time, if you added it all together, what we just did is 3 days on the actual route, but we stopped and stayed somewhere overnight and slept. But what they did in 1968, and that's like absolutely nuts.
Imagine the
they
BO,
even
the
contemplated.
partner. Imagine the BO from the other driver.
Yeah,
That's fresh air, mate. You got no aircon. You just the windows down.
Yeah.
3 days non-stop. So they're on heaps of cocaine, obviously driving across non-stop just to keep them going. Columbia marching pattern. Here we go. Yeah, all right, cool. Very interesting.
Yeah, so you have this, we've got more.
Hey, Paul.
Good night, Paul.
Saturday.
We've got more. We've got more OH&S stuff than I did in those days. They were built tough
100%.
then.
Yeah, and we had a satellite phone, GPS, internet, GPS trackers.
Yeah.
2 different GPS navigation systems, mobile phones, and we were still not connected sometimes.
That's crazy.
It was an awesome odyssey. It was a great trip. And look, I dare say maybe you might do it again. Like, as in, they may repeat this.
Well,
is there any talk about this being an annual event, or is it maybe every couple of years?
No, not an annual event, but this was meant to happen in 2020. They started planning it in 2019, but obviously something happened in 2020. So the short of COVID stopping this year, weather was the next worst thing that could happen, and it happened. So the route that we took wasn't actually, there was almost every day there was a redirection through a different way. So I think they're looking at, there's talk in the background of doing at least from Port Augusta through to Sydney using the original route. Because because the first day was the original route, the second day was the original route, the third day mostly through the Nullarbor because it was just along the highway and then little bits off the highway. But then once we got to Ceduna, then Ceduna out to a place called Mount Ive didn't happen. And then Rawnsley Park north to, Wilpena Pound north to Blinman and Curnamona Station and Yalata was where they came out. That didn't happen. So they're looking at maybe redoing just that bit from Port Augusta onwards.
Is that because of the floods, Andrew?
Yeah, the roads were just
Cut
shut,
off.
like they were cut off completely, even to four-wheel drives. So
when you say redoing, do you mean like next year and then
possibly? Yeah.
So that means
I'm not
most
sure.
of the contestants would have come from over east, so it's an easy
it's easy
day
link for
trip
them.
to get to Port Augusta, and then you sort of wind backwards. But
Yeah.
you guys, then you could do it if you redid it. You'd need less charging assets, possibly, or you just all go down the highway and then just do it the easy way, and then until you get to Port Augusta.
Yeah, I mean that was the difficult part was those few days, and we had more assets than we needed because we didn't have to do all that. So
Yep.
it'd probably be just as big an activity to do the whole thing. So yeah.
But you just wouldn't have to do the first few days. You just go
No,
on tarmac.
just go straight across. Yeah.
And bearing in mind, if it was, if it's in a year's time, most of the highway will be finished, electric
Hopefully,
highway.
Yeah.
And certainly the South Australian part would have been. So it'll be a lot more civilized as far as EV charging.
Yeah.
And then the trucks can just keep barreling. They don't have to wait around. They can just drive for 2 days,
I mean,
3 days.
From where do we go? From Broken Hill onwards, John's Model Y basically didn't use us to charge. He used public DC charging along the route.
Yeah, because there's tons of it.
Yeah, I mean, even a 900 kilometre day from Broken Hill to Wangaratta, all done on public DC charging. So it was, and that was none of that was Tesla superchargers. That was all, tritiums or whatever, other DC charging. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if you get Yalata, Ceduna, Puchera, Kimber, Port Augusta, there you go, job done.
Yeah.
How'd you go with fuel, Andrew? Did you spend a lot of money on fuel for the truck?
Yeah, I've got the receipts here for what we had on our truck. We used obviously a fair bit of diesel in the trucks. That was all offset from Ampol. They've paid for the carbon credits to offset that, so we were as carbon neutral as it could be. But in terms of veg oil for the car, we used almost nothing because all the generators were running on vegetable oil. We used no public charging for the Model 3 at least.
So were you charging up the battery car, the battery van?
Yeah.
So you were putting charging that as well?
Yeah. So that had, it's 120 kilowatt hour battery pack.
Yep.
So that could do the Model 3 twice. But generally it was doing Model 3 and Model Y. So at the end of a day, we'd charge that back up, and it's a LFP battery. So just ramp it straight up to 100% and leave it, and it didn't matter. So.
And how long was it taking to charge that back up?
It only charged at 40 kilowatts, so it took a while. But there's no need to have it any faster.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, there was almost one. I'll tell one story, and I won't name names, but there was almost the very last charge was going to have to be done at the Berry Supercharger in New South Wales, because we were meant to do the last charge at Nowra, and the truck got there, and they kicked the generator over just to check it, make sure it worked, and it stopped and didn't start again. They'd drained the diesel tank that ran the charger, and the generator started on diesel for a few minutes and then switched over to veg, because if you don't do that, it gums up the system. So you've got to run a little bit of diesel. Yeah. And yeah, the diesel tank was empty, so it did not start. So it was some frantic work they got it going like 1 minute after the car turned up. So thankfully, the last charge of the 63 charges or whatever we did over the course of the marathon, it was almost going to have to be a supercharger. So
Cool. Oh, well, you averted disaster at the last moment.
It wasn't me. We were.
No. I mean,
we were in Braidwood
you,
and
you, the
watching,
team. Yes.
Yeah, watching the chat, and I'm like, yeah, no, this is not good.
Oh dear. Cool.
I'm going to
Awesome.
go. I'll see everybody on Saturday night, 10:30. Alex,
10:30.
Flags.
Kareen Tavern.
Flags will be in my car, ready to go for you, Jared.
Just the flags. I need the marquee,
Just the flag.
donkey, just the
Cool.
flags. And Pete Petrosky, you probably have shave for the event, please. Full trim up. No Bear Grylls, people. Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Night,
Jared.
Jared.
See you Saturday.
Right, Jared.
See you
No,
Saturday.
I'm going to head off too, guys. So we'll see you all Saturday. Who's there?
All right. No worries, Andrew. Take care, mate.
Cool. Cheers, all.
Cheers.
See
Take
ya.
care. See ya.
Cheers.
Alrighty. So we got the AGM that was done already. So yeah, I'm sort of done on my little checklist. Anyone else got any questions or comments? I'm sure there's something I missed that's happened in the last week or so.
Harold, Rob mentioned, so if we're ever complaining about the cost of superchargers in Perth at 69 cents a kilowatt hour, in Europe now, they're charging as much as about $1.30 Aussie equivalent kilowatt hour, just with the obviously with the energy crisis going on as a result of the
Oh, yeah.
Russia conflict.
Yeah, right. I'm just going to see if I can bring a supercharger map up and see if they've got prices. They certainly do in the car, but actually I'm going to find out in a month's time because I'll be in Europe with a Tesla, and no, they don't have prices. They have it in the car. Anyone in the car? No. What's the name just left us? Paul in the car. But yeah, that's pretty expensive. But I mean, that's consistent with what we've seen with energy prices.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I did get power connected to a place that I'm staying in Vienna, and I think electricity was 28 euro cents a kilowatt hour, which is not cheap. I mean, a dollar's about half a euro, so that's nearly 60 cents a kilowatt hour, which is what, twice the price of here, basically. So, but yeah, obviously the superchargers would be dearer because, you know, they got the expensive tariff, and it's high power, and I guess they almost class it like a transport, sort of, not quite a fuel, but just trying to check my power bill for in Vienna. But yeah, basically it is expensive.
In China, are they left-hand drive or right-hand drive? Because Tesla, I don't know
Left.
if everyone's seen, they've got Model S Plaid and Model X Plaid on display in China at the moment.
Yeah, they're left-hand drive, Damo, so that's why. So Australia's,
Right.
we're not going to, as a right-hand drive market, we're not going to see either of those for much more than at least a year. More than a year, probably 18 months' time, if we're lucky. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it just is. It is what it is. And I had showed the images before, courtesy of Munro and Associates. They did a teardown of the Plaid Model S, and it shows that they don't have the symmetrical left and right hand drive penetrations for the steering wheel, pedals, and all that sort of stuff. So, so basically, Tesla would have to redo tooling or create new tooling to create the bulkhead for the right-hand drive versions, and there's just nothing we can do about it. It's just what it is. Yeah, it's nothing we can do.
Just enjoy your Model Y for a couple of years.
Yes, my performance Model Y when it turns up next year, early next year, fingers crossed. Yeah, I actually just so I'm just trying to look for prices, and it's actually they're actually if you want 100% offset in like green, what's the name? It's 34 euro cents per kilowatt hour. So yeah, it is actually fairly expensive in Europe, energy prices. But yeah, Damo, no good news for the Plaid S, unfortunately. But there is good news. Let me just, what we might do, since you mentioned the awesome Model S, I did have a little bit of footage of it in the news, but we might as well just watch, just for entertainment purposes, the full crash testing that they did. But you know, I'd much rather them send the Model S's to us than crash them. But here's the testing.
That's awesome.
Right.
It's got some bloody good brakes on it.
One thing I noticed that was super interesting was, did anyone notice something they did to the car? Anyone? No? All right. I've just got to find the section of the video. It's actually in quite a few places, especially the frontal crashes. What they did was they taped up the cameras. So I reckon it's because everything in the car has to be alive, but they probably didn't want the car knowing it was going to crash into a wall. Otherwise, it might have done something before they wanted it to. So they've actually taped up where the cameras are.
It's not
So that's
really.
something that- Sorry?
Well, in a real life situation, like the thing, the cameras wouldn't be obstructed. So
Yeah, but what if it ran into a wall that was painted with Vanta black or something, and you just couldn't see it? You know, so it's the absolute worst. You're right, Pete. It's the worst case because it means the car. Remember how Tesla actually said that they were using vision to apply the pretensioners imminently, like a little bit earlier, prior to the car crashing, so that it would be safer for the passengers.
Yeah.
So basically, what NCAP have said is no, we're going to turn that off by blinding the car.
yeah. So it's effectively not taking into account, you know, seatbelt pretensioners and all sorts of stuff that the guy has. Yeah.
Yep. That's something that you never saw on Teslarati or haven't seen yet. But I mean, those guys watch this program, as does Elon and everyone else. So if, you know, we broke it first.
Hey.
Good spotting,
So-
Harold. Only you could spot that, Harold.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm just that kind of guy.
Eagle eye.
Well, as long as
Yes.
they Dan O'Dowd doesn't see it.
Anyway, so there you go. So a few Model S's were harmed in those tests, and I guess the Model X will be next. But anyway, it is what it is. Cool. Has anyone else got any other questions or comments at this? Oh, it's only 10 past 10. It's only early. And the crowd roars. No, we're getting a bit quiet. That's a bit of a worry.
Harold, just a quick question, just with that South Australian network. Did you end up sending that second email through? Do we know whether the card swipes, whether they'll work in offline mode or not?
I haven't got that confirmed yet. No, Pete, I haven't. I did double confirm about the charges because I saw an article by The Driven that had quoted that 61 or 62 Chempower chargers had been ordered and a number of them had already arrived in Adelaide last week or this week. I think it was last week. So I did double check to confirm that all of those pin locations did amount precisely to the correct number of charges, if you know what I mean. So I knew that was beyond dispute that it was the Fast EC locations. But I haven't confirmed yet about the payment method. I don't know that yet. At worst, it'll just be the ChargeFox app or card.
Yeah.
Which is the same as the WA EV Highway, except it also adds the JetCharge PayMate, which means you can use debit or credit cards in a tap and go format.
Even in offline mode?
I think so. I think that's what the WA, what Synergy and Horizon Power will do. I think so. And obviously, as a club, that is something we would certainly be advocating that they do.
Yep.
Especially if you consider the importance of the charging infrastructure as being operational, as opposed to it being a strict money making venture, which it clearly isn't. It's really just essential public infrastructure.
Yep.
Just like, you know, go on, Pete.
I was just going to say, for the benefit of others watching, the reason why you want the card swipe to be available in offline mode is if there's a flood, if there's a fire, if there's a, you know, storm or something, any sort of disaster, one of the first things that goes is the mobile network, the 4G or the 3G network. So, you know, in that sort of a scenario, you just want to charge and get the hell out of there. So, you know, the last thing you want is for the thing not to be able to take your credit card because it can't communicate with Visa, so, or with the banks.
Yeah, absolutely. So fingers crossed that will be the case. I think it probably will be. It just makes sense because the number of times it would actually be offline is pretty low, and they're not really looking at a big loss of revenue if one or two people get away with it because their cart was close to its limit or something like that. It's not going to be a big issue. And of course, we just want it to work as well as it can possibly work.
Well, you want the uptime to be as
up as possible. Yeah.
Be at 99.96%, like the Tesla charges will, you know, it would be. I just hope that the uptime figures get published because just the pure act of publishing them will hopefully make the parties, you know, the half a dozen parties involved with the charging network hopefully lift their game. You know, if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, one thing I forgot. Yeah, precisely. So if it's measured and visible, then it's something to improve.
Absolutely.
And there is that pressure, that public pressure to improve it. Something I forgot to mention earlier, although I forget the gentleman who it was that fortunately is considering getting a Model 3 that's going to may arrive very soon, is that, oh, wow, they went fast. Well, I was going to say there were about half a dozen Model 3 inventory cars earlier this afternoon, and now there's one left. So there is one inventory Model 3 that is ready for almost immediate delivery. And it's a black one with aero wheels. So there you go. Obviously, by the time anyone watches this on YouTube, that will also have gone as well. So it just goes to show people are snapping them up, which is really good to see.
And that's part of, was it 350 that were on the ship?
I don't know. I don't know how many are on the ship. You mean the one that's in Freo at the moment?
Yeah, the Model 3s.
Yeah, I didn't actually know they were Model 3s. I was going to find out when I put the drone up. I was going to put it up this morning, but the ramp on the ship hadn't gone down yet. And I was going to put it up this afternoon, but the same thing applied. So I'm not even sure if the ramp has gone down yet. There was another ship at port just alongside or in front of that ship. So I surmise maybe that the dock workers are busy unloading that ship before they get to the one that the Teslas are on. But yeah, cool. If they've got Model 3s, Pete, then that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'll go out first thing tomorrow and have a squiz, because I think that ship is due to leave tomorrow night. So everything should be done. Oh, maybe the next day. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, I'll definitely have a squiz to see what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's
What's the
exciting
time
times. Sorry?
I was going to say, what's the time frame for the South Australian charges? Are they programmed for early next year, or?
Yeah, the RAA, they actually say on their website, I'll just get to the bottom of it.
I think it's early 2024 for completion, similar to WA, wasn't it?
Yes. So in their FAQ section, I think it's at the bottom. Frequently asked questions. Oh yeah, when will it be completed? So they're saying that work will commence in late 2022, with the network to be completed by early 2024, which is effectively in line with the WA Electric Highway.
Yeah. Well, that's not bad. It's good.
So, and there was, like I said, I'll try and find it. It was in the Driven only a few days ago. I think it might, yeah. It was in the Driven Electric Highway. I don't know if I've got a search function. And they basically said that, here we go. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh yes, Kempower to deliver more than 50 rapid and ultra rapid DC chargers to South Australia. This was on the 10th of November. And the numbers were, I think I actually quoted, oh, here we go. Total of 37 150 kilowatt Kempower C stations and 17 200 kilowatt C and S series. So obviously 37 and 17 is 54. And when I counted, if you go to the actual map, this map here, when I initially counted all of these dots, there were like 60 something. But then I realized that, you know how you've got Victor Harbour and Galwa and a few others, they are actually also duplicated on this smaller map or on the larger scale map. So I had to, once I deleted those, it lined up perfectly to the 54. So each one of the charges is going to these sites.
Gee, that's pretty good coverage, really, for that particular area in South Australia. That looks really good.
Yeah, in fact, it looks fairly dense, sort of along here. To my mind, it seems a little bit overly dense. I mean, for instance, you've got Clare and Jamestown, and really Clare and Jamestown aren't all that far apart, really. But yeah, look, it's a lot of density in the touristy bit in the Clare Valley and the Adelaide Hills. And yeah, I mean, you've got Berry, Renmark, and Bamara, or whatever, and they seem to be quite close together. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the only thing this stuff.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think, as you say before, Border Village to Yalata, you're reluctant to stop there, but
no, well, you have to, because Yalata, there's nothing there. It's just a fuel dump. It's got above ground tanks. The actual the roadhouse was demolished some years ago. The old roadhouse. I'll just look up Yalata. But yeah, basically there's nothing there. It's well, I don't think it's exactly uninhabited, but there are no services there. But the only missed opportunity.
Certainly very well inhabited, but yeah, there's not much service facilities there anymore. It's all gone.
That's right. And Border Village to Yalata is 280 k's. So that's a little bit of a stretch for some of the shorter range EVs. And if instead they went to Nullarbor Roadhouse.
Nullarbor Roadhouse make a lot more sense.
I mean, that's 95 kilometres, but then at least from Nullarbor Roadhouse, actually, what's the roadhouse after Nullarbor to Border Village? There is none.
Nullarbor Roadhouse is a good place to stop as well. There's really good amenities. There's, yeah, it's just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm just trying to check on PlugShare. Is there another Roadhouse after Nullarbor? Sorry, it's got to change the plugs to 3-phase. No, that's it. Yeah, that is it. But then at least when you go to, so Nullarbor to Yalalta was about 100 Ks, and then Border Village to Nullarbor is 184. Or should I say, actually, I'll rephrase that. I'll go Eucla, because that's where the WA charger is 197. So that would be perfect. So to go to Nullarbor, to move the Border Village one to Nullarbor Roadhouse would be better. It would be better for the system, because it's not like South Australia and WA have to have a fast DC charger sitting side by side, along the border. You just don't really need that.
What's Nullarbor to Ceduna? What's
Nullarbor to Ceduna? That'd be a fair bit.
What's George saying?
396, 296.
Okay.
Mundrabilla is a good one. Oh yes, yeah, George. But that's on the WA side. So the WA highway is actually. Oops. Oh. Let me just get the WA highway. It's going, there'll be Norseman, Balladonia, Kaiguna, Madura, and Eucla. And Mundrabilla is sort of in between Madura and Eucla. So yeah, there won't be Mundrabilla, but this spacing is quite good. Any car can get, well, any Tesla, even the shortest range, can easily get between these gaps, like very easily. So yeah, Mundrabilla wouldn't really work in that sense. But yeah, unfortunately in South Australia, like I said, there's this 280 kilometre gap between Yalalta and Border Village.
Which is certainly a stretch for some.
Yeah, look, I think so. It means that you've got to basically fully charge at either, well, at both. Well, at least, sorry. Well, if you're going in a westerly direction, you've got to fully charge at Yalalta, and if you're going east, you've got to fully charge at, well, Border Village or Eucla.
Eucla, yeah.
Basically. So I don't know. I mean, look, we could always try and contact the RAA and say, hey, is there any chance of moving it to Nullarbor? Bearing in mind that both of those sites are off grid. So it's not like either site would be harder than the other. They'd be equally difficult. So, or, it's the same off site. You'd have to have standalone power supply, basically.
Like coming from Tokwa, I think that would be well received as good information.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And especially coming from people that have driven it.
Exactly.
And it's a simple metric. And I think the main point to try and get across is you don't need to plant your flag right at the border. You're talking about a string of pearls.
That's
right. We still are a federation. So
it's not a competition, is it?
It's not a competition, So look, hopefully, I mean, maybe the planning's too far in advance or too far advanced, but look, it's worth a crack. It certainly is worth a crack. But it's going to be an awesome setup, and if, as Andrew mentioned earlier, the Perth City Marathon, at least a part of it was rerun. Well, that could be quite useful if that was done at the end of next year, because most of this stuff would have been completed, well, at least the major, most of it.
That's right. Yeah.
So
we could live in hope.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the time we keep wishing our years away. We keep sort of wanting time to go away so we can get older and get things like better charging infrastructure. In Damo's case, a Model S Plaid. In my case, perhaps I'm waiting for the Model Y performance, and then a Model X, the new X, and then the Cybertruck. But I mean, I'm going to while away a lot of years waiting for that. Oh, and then the Tesla Semi.
The Semi might beat the Cybertruck.
But it's okay. I don't mind. I don't
can
mind.
see people turning the Semi into some wicked like campers.
Oh yeah.
I just imagine, Domo, you just get a standard 40-foot trailer, and you could put a not very tiny house on it, and then on the roof you could have solar panels, and on the sides you could have pop-up sort of panels that go out like wings, which triple
like awnings. They could serve.
Yeah, like
as shade.
awnings. Yeah, you could probably put. I haven't worked out the square meterage. Well, what's 40 foot? That's
They're 40 by 8,
roughly.
aren't they?
So 13. Is that maybe 13 meters? Maybe 14 meters. Well, let's call it 13 meters. So then, and it's 2.5 wide. That's 33 square meters.
40 foot is 12.2 meters. So yeah.
12.2, right. So let's call it, so roughly say 30 square meters. And if you did that times 3, that's nearly 100 square meters of solar panels. And at 25% efficient, that's panels.
You get about
that's
kilowatts.
25 kilowatts, 20 kilowatts.
You get about 18 kilowatts because you got to allow for,
wastage. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Well, let's call it 20, or let's call roughly 20 at a rough figure. I mean, that's not bad.
That would give you roughly about, 80 to 100 kilowatt hours a day.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that can run your tiny house. That can keep your beer fridge cold, and your induction cooktop, and hot water heater, and aircon, and
Well, what do you reckon the watt hour per kilometre usage of the
Semi quotes? They quote less than 2 kilowatt hours per mile. So if we convert that to 1.6 divide, it's 1.25 kilowatt hours. Yes, that's loaded at 40 tons total.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have anywhere near that weight on it.
Exactly.
Right.
So you'd be a lot lighter because your tiny house isn't going to weigh
that
40
can't be
tons.
right, Harold.
Why is that, Pete?
What did you say?
2 kilowatt hours per mile.
Yeah, so what's that per kilometre? That can't be right.
1.25 kilowatt hours per kilometre.
Oh, kilowatt hours.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're latent figures, aren't they?
So let's call it 1,250 watt hours per kilometre.
Yeah. So I thought you were saying 125 watt hours.
No, kilowatts. No.
Right.
So with the largest Semi, the prime mover, it gets 500 miles range, right? And if it's less than 2 kilowatt hours per mile, it's pegging it at about a megawatt hour, roughly. That it's going to have to store in batteries.
You get about 70 kilometres out of that 20 kilowatt system array.
Yep.
You got about 70 kilometres a day based on that 90 kilowatt hours or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, on the WAV highway, you could just plug in, and because you'd want to use the solar for your tiny house, Pete, and you want to run your Starlink dish, and TV and Netflix and microwave ovens and stuff.
Jacuzzi, electric bed, and
I actually meant like not a tiny house on a trailer, like a camper on the back of the bed of the truck.
Oh, yeah, so you take the turntable off. Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, in fact, that's something I meant to show earlier.
And you'd go double story, Damo. You'd have the bed up the top, and you could have a table and a couch and a TV underneath.
Because you've actually got a fair bit of dead space in this back part as well. That's the front. That's, by the way, that's where you can see the nice all white seats with the red.
Yeah, seatbelt.
What's the name? Seatbelt. So
pretty decent frunk.
Yes, it's got a big frunk.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
in the cab, that's the captain's view, or actually sitting from behind standing behind the seat. And
truckies are going to love that.
That's your charge port inlet, which frustratingly is showing as Tesla's standard and not the Megacharger standard. But anyway, and that's the inside view from the windscreen.
That looks awesome.
So you got plenty of cup holders. You know, you could put your beer and your whatever in there. You know, it's all good.
Will they have autopilot?
Oh yeah, of course.
Hey Damo, they might even have platooning, but Damo, what I'm thinking is you could actually put a bed where the 3 seats are in the back behind the driver.
Yeah, nice, like a sleeper.
Yeah.
In fact, this view here, that shows the seat up. See how it's flipped up? So yeah, you could easily put a bed, because that's 2.5 meters wide. You could easily put a bed, take this seat out altogether, or just sleep on the floor in the back there.
Or you could, yeah.
But bearing in mind that in the other view, oh, sorry, I just got to get this thing to work out properly. What's that doing? In the other view, like I said, you've actually got. Oh, I see what's happened. You've actually got. Oh, there's the front there. That's the big front you've got. You've actually got.
George is ready to place an order, Harold.
Well, see, in this, it's underappreciated just how much spare space is in the back here, and that's before you even get to the turntable.
You could have your little ablution block in there. Toilet, shower.
Exactly.
If you take away that space behind the cab, there's plenty of room to put like a big camping module on the back tray where you don't have to have a trailer.
Yeah, well, you could, if you take the turntable off. I don't have a side view of this thing, I don't think. Oh yes. So basically, it's not really properly shown, but a lot of this is actually dead space here. So you actually can put a fair bit of space if you modify it.
Turn it into a ute.
And Damo, it's a ute that does 0 to 100 in 5 seconds flat.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I know.
And you just fit an air horn and go, bah, bah, as you just whiz past everyone.
Just to put that into perspective, the Model Y rear-wheel drive is at about, 6.9 seconds or something?
That's right.
That's a lot faster than the Model Y.
You can burn off. In fact, there was footage. I'm trying to find it. That Teslarati highlighted. It was on Twitter, or maybe it was on something else. That showed the Semi. I'm just going to try and search for it.
There was one where it was accelerating. I think it was during the reveal day.
It wasn't the reveal. No, it wasn't a reveal. It was more recently than that. It was. Oh, here we go.
I haven't seen videos of it running, eh?
Here we go. So this is. I just got to get the right. I think it was tweeted out. Here we go. Got it. So this is it, just at an intersection. Like that's really taken off. I mean, looks can be deceptive, but that's actually accelerating quite quickly. Like you see it just take off, and normal trucks just aren't doing that.
The truckies are going to love these.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, there's also one. There's also one at the reveal day when it didn't have the trailer; it was just the cab.
You mean Tesla's actual? You mean Tesla's actual reveal?
Correct. Yeah, and it's got the sound as well, and you can hear the tires. Yeah, just gripping the asphalt.
Yeah, right. Okay. You've just given me a job to do, and that was back in 2017 as well. It's a while ago.
If I can,
Yeah, it will be there. Was that 4 years ago? No, 2017 was 5 years ago. Here we go.
it was that night, remember?
It was
Like-
that night, and it was the unveil for the semi. But there we go. Tesla semi. Got it. Okay. So was it early on or was it late? Was it afterwards?
Yeah.
I don't think it was part of the actual presentation, Harold. It was
Oh,
just
well, that's what you
afterwards,
just.
car park. Yeah.
Oh,
But I mean, that slide that you've got there at the moment, that's quite relevant. You play that.
We want a vehicle that feels incredible, that accelerates like nothing else. Let's show what the truck, what it's like to be in a Tesla truck. This is real time. Okay. So that's the Tesla Semi will go 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. So that's by itself or with a trailer. Now at 80,000 pounds max gross vehicle weight, so that's the most amount of weight you can carry on a US highway. This is the real-time acceleration of a Tesla Semi. That, on the left, the thing that looks like it's not moving is a diesel truck. Just gonna give it a moment. I'm sorry to bore you. I apologize for.
yes. Bring it on.
I reckon they're
Bring it
awesome.
on. They are. They really are. And when they platoon, and you've got one driver in the front and two trucks following, yeah, it's just awesome. And this is something that you'd like. This is something that you'd like, Damo.
Mine. It's a pickup truck that can carry a pickup truck.
That's what you want, Damo. Oh, sorry. That's what you want. So you have the semi that's turned into a pickup truck.
That's awesome. People will be doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Question.
You have to
That-
stretch. Obviously, they've stretched the back, but yeah.
That 804 kilometre range or 500 miles, is that
Yep.
loaded or unloaded? Do you know, Harold?
That's loaded.
80,000 pounds loaded, full.
So what would the range be then unloaded? Just the truck? Just the semi?
Probably double.
I'm going to find out as soon as I get one, Damo. And
that's
actually,
unreal.
maybe Pete and I will both get one, and we'll go in opposite directions, eh? Bah, bah.
I've just found that video. It's not the exact one, but it is of the night. I'll try and see if I can share it. All right, here we go. Okay. There we go. This is where they were doing the ride, huh?
Yes.
Oh, you can smell it.
It's pretty cool, eh?
It is. That is
Very-
really cool. I just want one. Come on. Oh well. Anyway, last drinks, everyone. It's getting a bit late. I actually thought I was going to have to stay up really late tonight, but it's going to be tomorrow night, Pete. So it's all good. Get to bed.
Oh, yeah, right.
I trust that little rocket that went up worked okay. It didn't blow up on the pad or anything, so it's probably on its way to the moon and beyond. That being Artemis.
I wanted to show one more. This is the Mercury color, the new Mercury
Yes.
color throughout the week.
Is that on? Is that the Wolf? Is that the Wolfpack Berlin or Thomas Lind?
No, that was at the Swiss Museum. Here it is now in Switzerland.
Good colour.
Yeah, I reckon it looks great.
No.
Yeah, I reckon it looks brilliant.
That new red color they're doing in Germany, that is beautiful.
Yeah, the
Oh yes, I
midnight
don't show that.
cherry red.
Yes.
But how good does that look? Look at that.
Mm. Yes, midnight. Sorry, it's what's it called? Mercury.
Quicksilver. Quicksilver or Mercury silver.
Yeah,
something like that.
that's it. There is, I think it was Tobias Lind actually showed. Oh, here we go.
Dieses Video wird gesponsert von To Be Fair.
He's got them. Let's turn that off just in case YouTube pings us. Actually, sorry. Oh, there you go. There's one there, and there's quite a few others around. That's it there in the wild.
That looks really good.
And notice how they're all performance cars. It seems.
Yeah, they're probably bringing it out for the performance cars first.
So there they are there.
Nice.
But they do look good in the sunlight. Yeah, they're pretty good looking. But unfortunately not for us yet. Because Berlin is the only place that's got that advanced paint shop at the moment. It'd be nice to think that Shanghai might get one for us, but who knows. Cool. Anything else, Pete? No, I've got everything. I've done it all. Nothing else that you can think of, Pete? Before we wrap this
not-
awesome.
Not at the top of my head, no.
Yeah, cool. Well, like we said earlier, the AGM is at 10:30. Hopefully the actual formal proceedings will be done pretty quickly, and then we can adjourn to a nice lunch straight after. And that'll kind of be our de facto Christmas party, I guess, in a sense, although we'll see what happens. If there is a Christmas party, I won't be there because I'll be away. But yeah, the AGM will be pretty good. So I'd like to see everyone there. Please do hop on Try Booking just to give an idea of numbers. If you can't get onto Try Booking, just send me an email. Just send an email to secretary@tokwa.org.au.
I
just to
can't
say that
make
you're
it,
coming.
Harold. I'll be on night shift, so.
Yeah, no, that's cool, Damo. No worries, mate. But just so we get an idea of numbers. But anyway, alrighty. Well, that's our episode. Oh, go, Pete.
Improved smart summon. So that was another bit of news. So what would be interesting to know is, how they're unifying the two stacks, whether the parking lot stack will be part of the city streets and the highway stack unification as well. That would be really interesting to know.
I think yes, because Elon did say what was it called? Real summon. He called it
No,
something else.
Actual ass.
Actual ass, yes. Or as the Yanks would say, ass. Actual smart summon.
How could you forget
Yes.
that?
Yeah, well, that's right. I was in good boy mode. Yeah, so because one interesting thing was, which I think is really good news, is that the so-called highway, like what we are used to, autopilot, that visual stack is 4 years old, and that's really good news because it gives us hope that even though we see it do really silly things, once they join that, well, now they have unified the Tesla Vision stack with the, let's call it autopilot, it's going to be so much better than we can imagine, because all we've seen so far is stuff that's basically 4 years old, effectively.
Yeah.
So that's really good news.
And they've pretty much stopped development on that. So everything's been focused on the, FSD beta program. So
one thing I guess I do hope is, why not, if they've unified the so-called city streets and the highway stack, then why not port that stack down to us on autopilot? Because it'll make our autopilot at least work so much better.
Well,
even if we don't get FSD beta.
Well, Elon said at the Q3 earnings call that, they're hoping for a full release, so anyone who wants it can have it in the US and Canada, but worldwide release by the end of the year as well. Obviously, conditionally based on your driving score, as they did in the US first. But there was no. Once again, he said on Twitter, I think it was today, he said, still looking at doing a wide release. So version 11 was released on the 11th day, on the 11th hour. So a bit of a...
And the 11th minute. It was 11:11.
Yeah, so a bit of a hats off to World War I veterans. And then he said, employees will have it for the first couple of weeks, and then limited release, and then full wide release by the end of the year. But he didn't say US or Canada. He didn't. Presumably that's what he meant. But a few people tweeted and said, what about Australia, or what about the rest of the world? And unfortunately, he didn't reply.
Yeah, I think he said a wider release by Thanksgiving, ready for Christmas, but by Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had to look that up, and that was the 24th of November. So for North Americans. But yeah, hopefully we'll get that trickle down effect. And look, even if they just ported it to autopilot, because once you've worked out that the stack's working well, why not give people on lowly autopilot, the included autopilot, the same stack? Because then it makes it work a lot better.
And the other advantage of that is that you'll get to have some kilometers under your belt with that new stack in a new region, different road rules, etc. So that can only be a benefit before you roll out FSD beta. So,
and it is just autopilot, so it's just lane keeping, but it should keep the lanes so much better.
Yeah, and cruise control.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, well, I'm certainly looking forward to that. What I don't want, of course, is for FSD beta to drop, before the Performance Y turns up, because I won't be investing in FSD on the temporary Ys. But anyway, doesn't matter.
You will.
No, I won't. That's $10,000 that you never get back, Pete, and you can't transfer it, which is another gripe. But anyway,
you will.
I won't. I will on the Y. I will on the Performance. I'm not doing it, Pete.
I'll bet you lunch you will.
I'll take your lunch. I could. I'm going to have some nice beluga caviar and stuff, and unobtainium, or I don't know.
Okay,
whatever.
I'm going to document this bit.
It's recorded.
Well, it's recorded on YouTube. It definitely is.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, if you have made it all this way, or even if you've done a sneaky, which is very wise, done a sneaky fast forward right to the end, because I've always got juicy bits at the end, please make sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, but also share it. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, even better, about the show, and get them to watch and learn, like we all do every week. So Pete, how would you run out this show, take out this show?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about transitioning the world. Ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy.
And making it cross.
Absolutely. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
See you Saturday.
Yes.
Oh, I can't turn this off. Oh, got the. See ya.